Now, ladies and gentlemen, the word you're waiting for.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
43 cars roar to life. Our Pep Boys are next. Alan, Wally, and Benny. The countdown's at 0. The 500 is next.
The chase for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship moves to the three-cornered Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania as Pep Boys presents the Pennsylvania 500, race number 20 of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series season. A cloudy, overcast day hasn't deterred the energy of these fans. They've been coming in here since before dawn this morning. The infield is packed. They're all revved up and ready to unleash 33,000 horsepower with 43 NASCAR Winston Cup Series machines to start this race just moments from now. Hi and welcome to TNT's coverage of the Pennsylvania 500. Alan Bestwick here in Pocono along with Wally Dallenbach and Benny Parsons. You know, the start of any race is always a tense, exciting time. But at this racetrack, it kind of takes on even a little more of an edge.
Yeah, this place is wild for the driver and for the fans because Pocono's, the straightaway is so wide. On the start, you'll see everybody getting 4 and 5 wide. The problem is, BP, you got to get down double file getting into 1, and today we're not sure what's going to happen when they get to turn 1.
That's right, because of the rain this morning. Anytime that it rains on a surface, it changes the racetrack from the way they practiced yesterday afternoon. So no one really knows, but surely to goodness there will be some apprehension when they get to turn 1, don't you think?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? They're not going to hesitate for a second, are they?
No, they're going to try to win the first lap.
There you go. Cars are starting to roll off now on their parade and pace lap. They're going to run a few extra laps than normal to just try and finish drying out this surface. It hasn't rained now for, what, a good hour, hour and a half, and they've been working the track over with the jet dryers, but there's still just that extra security of running these hot race cars around there.
And I think they're also looking for what the drivers have to say about the track. They'll take a few laps, and they're always asking the drivers, well, how does it look to you? They're actually the ones that make the final call to make sure the track is dry enough and safe enough for them to start the race.
If the sun would just pop out, the track would dry almost immediately, but it's 100% humidity. The moisture is just laying on top of the racetrack. That's the problem they have trying to dry it out.
And the added question mark on the minds of all the drivers and crew chiefs as we start this race today is, will it go the full distance? Once we get to lap 100, which is halfway in this race, if the weather comes again, that could be it.
Could be it. So that's something interesting to see. Making that pit stop at 100 laps, 105, especially if it's dark like this, is a real gamble.
A little added drama in there. Going to make 6 parade and pace laps before the green flag, so let's take a break here. When we come back, we'll have a look at the starting lineup for the Pennsylvania 500. And now, the Walmart starting grid for today's Pennsylvania 500 alongside Bill Elliott on the front row. Ricky Rudd came within 6 laps of winning here in June. Flat tire foiled him that day.
And back in row 2, Michael Waltrip and Jeremy Mayfield, teammate for Bill Elliott.
John Andretti, great qualifying run for Richard Petty. He starts in row 3 with Johnny Benson. Back says the ribs are fine after his crash at Daytona.
And back in row 4 is the bestest rookie row, Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman. So they expect both these cars to challenge.
Rusty Wallace, hope his racing's better than his golfing. He's going to go with row 5 with Tony Stewart alongside. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in row 6 with Jerry Nadeau going to drive that 44 car for the Petties the rest of this season.
Sterling Marlin, Steve Parker, points leader Sterling Marlin inside of row 7.
Dale Jarrett won here in June 6 weeks ago. He starts in row number 8 with Ricky Craven in the Tide Ride.
And back in row 9, we find on the inside Mark Martin starting 17th. Let's talk to Mark. Mark Martin, Benny Parsons, TNT. You got me?
Hey, Benny.
Okay, how's the racetrack looking?
Racetrack's ready to go here. They're trying to dry up some damp spots on the front stretch, but that wouldn't bother us any. We're ready to go here. The track looks good.
Well, okay. Is that number 6 car ready to go?
It was good yesterday. But, you know, every day's a new day. We'll have to wait and see how it goes today.
What are your thoughts as you drive down in turn 1 on the racetrack? Had some rain on it.
I hadn't seen a drop out here. Track looks good.
Well, good luck to you, Mark.
Thanks.
Mark Martin chasing that championship. Going to take the number 6 car to the green flag from the 17th position today. Here are the rest of the starters in the Pennsylvania 500. Elliott Sadler back there pretty deep in the field. 32nd spot, the Burton brothers in row 17.
What did Weber say, that no one has ever won this race past 27th starting spot or something?
That's right. How about Bobby Labonte, defending winner of this race? Provisional land, and he's even going to drop farther back than that because they changed engines after their problems in qualifying, so he's got to go to the very back of the field. Mike Skinner does as well.
Gary Cope, Kurt Shelmadine, who crashed on his qualifying lap on Friday, and Morgan Shepherd. I saw Morgan on pit road a couple of laps ago. Hopefully everything is okay.
And so there they are, the 43 who will start. Only one failed to qualify. Carl Long, unsuccessful in trying to make the field for the Pennsylvania 500. Let's get some stories from pit road as we get set for what should be the final planned pace lap. Dave Burns, how about it?
Alan, 2 weeks ago at Chicagoland, Dale Earnhardt Jr. tried to set up that he called radical. Here last year, he finished second, so I asked his crew chief, Tony Uri, if they went radical or if they went to last year's notes. Radical made the car bottom out in turn 1. They only applied a little bit of that wild setup for Junior's ride today. To Marty Snyder.
Well, Dave, it's been a very good weekend so far for Matt Kenseth. 5 laps and happy hour yesterday, 22 all day on Saturday. I asked Robbie Reiser, any changes this morning? He said, no. And that's the first time they've done that all year long. That should tell you how good the 17 car should be today. Matt Yoakum.
Marty, back in June, point leader Sterling Marlin entered Pocono with a 136-point lead. Now, after 6 weeks, it's a mere 55. He knows that this midsummer stretch is where Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd lost the championship 1 year ago. He has to go on the offensive, especially when you consider his record at the next 5 racetracks. He has a combined 1 victory. Bill?
Thank you, Matt. Qualifying here on Friday provided an emotional lift for a couple of teams. First, there was John Andretti. A week ago at New Hampshire, he was fast in practice but did not deliver in qualifying. Here on Friday at Pocono, fast in practice and delivered in qualifying. He starts 5th, trying to resurge the Petty effort. He has just 1 top 10 so far this season. Next to him, Johnny Benson, making his comeback after that hard crash in the Pepsi 400 in Daytona on the 4th of July weekend. This is just the 15th start for Benson. He broke ribs at Richmond, came back at Pocono. He broke ribs at Daytona, comes back at Pocono. Today, he starts 6th, looking for his first career win. Alan?
Bill, so many of the headlines here in Pennsylvania this week have been focused on Somerset, a couple hundred miles away from here, where those 9 miners were trapped underground for 3, 4, 5 days. What was it, about 3 days they were trapped down in there? Little 4-foot by 18-foot space.
Longer than I want to think about, I'll tell you that. You wondered, could they get those guys out? But thank God they did.
Yeah, diligent rescue effort, and they all came out last night. And I got a chuckle. I didn't see the news this morning, but one of our people were telling me that one of the guys came out and said, thank goodness we're out in time to see the race. I mean, we were so glad that they got out okay, and they were on the thoughts of a lot of people around here in Pennsylvania. In fact, Jimmy Spencer, a Pennsylvania native, has got a sign in his Target car that says, glad you're home, guys. So a great ending to that story, and we hope they're all doing very well.
Joy, Jimmy Spencer, that 41 car, wants to run better at this racetrack and any track on the circuit because he grew up about 70, 80 miles from here, but he seems to have, his luck seems to be so bad at Pocono.
He has none here. But he'll try it again. We are set to go. The rain is held off. The crowd is on its feet. 200 laps, 500 miles here at Pocono. Let's get him started.
Green.
Here they go. 3, 4 wide, just like you said, Wall.
Yep, now so you're going to get through. You want to be down on the bottom, I think, going through one of the first lap. You certainly don't want to make it 3 wide, but everybody looks like they're behave themselves so far anyway, but you still got to get through 2 and 3 on the first lap.
Ricky Rudd gets the jump. He's the early leader. Oh, trouble! Steve Park is off into the infield. Another car valve over on his lid. It's Parkindale Jr. Terrible crash.
Man, Steve Park's car just turned dead left when he came off turn 2. Junior's running to see his teammate and see if he's okay.
And getting off into that wet grass wasn't going to do anything to slow those cars down. Caution is out. Ricky Rudd will lead the field back to the yellow. can see Park moving inside the car, looking through the back glass. He's trying to get himself unwrapped around the roll bars to get out.
Yeah, he's definitely moving in there. That's a great sign.
The car hit that inside guardrail, which is a guardrail instead of a wall. Now, Rusty Wallace got a piece of it.
And we saw Rusty make it 3 wide going in turn 1, but as he entered turn 1, it looks like it slowed down and everything was under control.
Boy, you see that guardrail? They have flattened that guardrail inside that straightaway.
But once again, they talk about safer walls, and NASCAR and some folks at the University of Nebraska are working on making a softer wall, a safer wall. And what they're talking about is a wall like that that gives on impact rather than just sits there and makes the car and driver absorb all the energy.
Safety workers still there around the number 1 car. Of course, Steve has suffered 2 serious injuries back in March of '98 when he had that terrible crash at Atlanta that broke his leg and left him out for months, and then the crash at Darlington last Labor Day weekend in the Busch Series car. That strange crash when the steering wheel, it's suspected, came off in Steve's hands.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. still there.
And it's real easy, especially on the first lap coming out of 1. You know, you got cars 2 and 3 abreast, and if you slide up the racetrack, we talked about earlier.
There's Steve coming out of there.
There he is.
There we go.
Good sign.
That's what we wanted to see.
Anyways, what happens is you slide up the racetrack and you can hit somebody in their left rear as you slide up the racetrack with your right front. And that's almost what it looked like. That one car just turned dead sideways.
Well, what a great shot that is. Teammates walking away from a crash like that, arm in arm.
Wally, you said just seconds before that they got through turn 1, but they had to get through turns 2 and 3. Didn't think they'd have problems on the straightaway, though.
Well, but like I said, you come out of turn 1, and if you slide up the racetrack, especially as green as it is, you never know what's going to happen.
All right, now that we know the drivers are okay, let's see if we can figure out what happened to cause this mess.
We see the Jimmy Johnson car, and there's Rusty Wallace. You see Park trying to squeeze up the outside.
I see he was trying to go on the outside of Rusty. Rusty moves up, they make contact, and Junior gets under the 1 car and just kind of bulldozed him into the wall and over.
Yeah, that's what actually turned him even more sideways. But I'll tell you what, that guardrail did the job.
Oh, it did. It's a great job.
Took a lot of, that absorbed a lot of impact right there.
Watch the yellow car back there just turn left.
And when you hit wet grass, it feels like you pick up 200 mile an hour.
But you can see how that barrier gave way when
Absolutely.
that car got into it.
That barrier absorbed a lot of energy, and I'll tell you what, that nice to see happen, because if that were a concrete wall, he would have taken a much harder hit.
One more shot. Rusty's right in the middle of the racetrack. Steve Park's going on the outside, but Rusty decides to come up to the outside line, not realizing that Steve was there. They made contact, and the ride is on.
Look at that barrier give. Thank goodness.
But again, that's one reason that Steve was able to walk away arm in arm with Dale Earnhardt Jr. because of that wall that did give.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
And you know, the spotters on the roof here at Pocono are a long way away from where Rusty Wallace and Steve Park were racing over there. And it could be hard for that spotter to call Rusty clear. You know, maybe he did call Rusty clear. It's hard to, you know, but it's a difficult angle and a long way away from here at the start-finish line.
Yeah, that's an extremely tough call. You're right, Alan. This place, you have to look a mile away to see what's going on. So a lot of the driver has to really has to pay attention out there.
Under caution early, a savage crash involving Steve Park. Thankfully, both drivers, he and Dale Earnhardt Jr., are okay. Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania, the site of the Pennsylvania 500, presented by Pep Boys, under caution after a lap 1 crash between Steve Park and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Rusty Wallace also involved.
Let's take a look here at what happened, and it appears that you watch right here, Steve Park is trying to squeeze up the outside of Rusty, and Rusty just really moves up the racetrack thinking he's clear on Steve Park, and he drives right up into Steve Park, which turns him in the wall. Steve tries to turn left to avoid it and gets hooked by Dale Jr., which turns him even more sideways, and they both get hooked up and they hit this guardrail. And I mean, it's an amazing crash, but I'll tell you what, all the safety equipment did their job today.
And again, thank goodness for that soft wall on the inside, that steel barrier that gave so much when the one car got into it. And again, that's why the NASCAR and those folks are working on these walls. That's why the folks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway installed those barriers that give like that on impact.
And that's a scary crash to be watching from Earnhardt. It happens so fast when you're in a crash like that, and Earnhardt's sitting there looking at it, and that's why he ran over to the car to see how his teammate and Buddy was doing.
And knows he's basically pushing Park into that wall.
Right. And here you see Steve climbing out. And everybody's happy because of that.
What a great shot.
Yeah. Cleaning up the accident scene over between turns 1 and 2. Got a lot of work to do to repair that guardrail. The Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys is about to be red flagged. The hard crash between turns 1 and 2 with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Park and Rusty Wallace involved has damaged that inside guardrail and is going to need some repair work before the race can safely resume. Here's another look at it. This one at full speed.
Yeah, this is just amazing how violent this crash looks. There again, there's a credit to the cars on how much protection there is around these cars right now.
Steve Park was kind of tucked inside that safety cocoon, BP.
Alan, I'm at the Team Roush Team Caliper 360 car, and let's look at what the driver sits in. Here the driver is in the seat. Then the seat, they've got these new seats that really hold the driver secure inside. And look at the roll cage that surrounds them. The bar here, so in case the car flips over on the roof or someone drives into it, they won't come down on the driver. The roll cage on the left side, 4 bars protecting the driver. This also, Dale Earnhardt at Talladega a few years ago, a car hit the windshield. That's when NASCAR insisted they put this Earnhardt bar in the windshield to keep debris from going inside on the driver. And you see the window net? It comes down. That's the way that they can get to the driver more easily. The window net was an invention of Richard Petty. Back in about 1970, he flipped at Talladega, and he was flipping through the air like Steve Park was doing. His arm flew out the window. The next race that he goes to, Richard Petty has the window net. NASCAR thought it was such a good idea. Now all the cars have a window net. Matt?
Well, Benny, down here in the 2 garage, I've caught up with Rusty Wallace, who's surveying the damage to the Blue Deuce. First off, Rusty, any idea what happened?
Not really. On the start of the race, the 48 just didn't get a good start. I passed him going into 1. Everything was fine. Went through 1, went through 2, and I come down the back straightaway, and all of a sudden, I just get nailed in the right rear quarter panel, and I don't know what happened, to tell you the truth. And into the wall, and that was it.
And this is a tough place for spotters going down into 1. They can't quite get a good feel, and also off down by the tunnel turn, too.
Yeah, you can't really rely on a spotter. I mean, spotters you're supposed to drive the race car yourself. I can't put a responsibility onto a spotter. Evidently, they're telling me Steve Park had a run on me, and as I was coming down the back straightaway and fading up towards the wall, he had a good run on me, got his nose in on the right side, and just wedged himself in there, and that was it. But not much you can do about it.
Well, they certainly are disappointed. They're certainly trying to fix this race car to get back out for points, Alan.
We are under the red flag here at Pocono. You see the field has been parked on pit road. Ricky Rudd, the leader, the first car on line there, but the race will be stopped so that repairs can be effected to that inside guardrail between turns 1 and 2 where Steve Park and Dale Earnhardt Jr. crashed. Fortunately, the guardrail gave. No question that helped the severity of the crash, but now it's going to need to be repaired before racing can safely be resumed once again. Bill?
Alan, Benny talked about all the safety innovations currently in these NASCAR Winston Cup machines, but safety innovation continues day in and day out. Earlier this year, NASCAR conducted a series of tests at the new speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. What they're looking at is a larger greenhouse. That's this portion of the car, the glass and the roof. They're looking at making it bigger. Now, a lot of people believe that's to try and help the aerodynamic push problem currently involved in the Winston Cup Series. But this morning, Series Director John Darby told me those tests are being conducted so they can have a bigger greenhouse area, so they can put bigger, safer seats and bigger, safer roll cages in these cars to protect the drivers. Obviously, that will affect the aerodynamics of a race car and may have some influence on the aerodynamic push problem we hear about week in and week out, especially here at Pocono, next week at Indianapolis. But the bigger greenhouse truly is a design to try and make these drivers more safe as racing continues. Just another NASCAR innovation working with race teams in the Winston Cup garage.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bill, and I think also one of the reasons BP, maybe they're making that greenhouse bigger, is that it gives more crush to a race car, and that when there's more around you and it has more crush, it absorbs more energy, and I think that's maybe what they're looking at as well.
And I think a lot of guys need that larger greenhouse. I'm talking about Michael Waltrip, who's what, 6'5" or something? Sure, maybe it's not a big deal to Jerry Nadeau at 5'7", 5'8", but you take a guy 7-8 inches taller inside that car, his head almost into the roof, so he needs that roof to be 2 or 3 inches higher. I think it's a great thing to do if they can just do it. All right, Marty, what's Junior having to say? Relief, I guess.
I would say he is relieved just from the infield care center. First of all, what did you see from your windshield, Junior?
Well, we come off the corner, and Jimmy Johnson got on the inside of Rusty, and Rusty moved up, and he was just maybe an inch or two of not being clear of Steve, and Rusty got turned in the wall, and Steve, just come down in the path of my car, and I got into the side of him and slid through the grass. I knew that I kind of had him pinned, and I knew when we hit this guardrail it was going to be big, so I'm just glad Steve's all right. And anybody else, I guess, that was involved, I didn't really see anything else going on, but bad wreck for Steve, bad day for the Pennzoil team. We'll probably be able to get the Bud car back out, but those guys in that yellow car really need a good run today.
Hey, Marty.
You're disappointed for all of DEI, but you're okay, and in what Steve condition right now?
Oh, Steve's fine. He just couldn't really get out of the car. They got all these big old headrests these days, and there are some drawbacks. So, we're going to look at maybe shorting his headrest up so when he, if you're ever in that situation again, you want to be able to get out. You have to take his helmet off to get out, and that's the last thing you want to do when you're in a wreck. So, just glad he's okay, Torp race car, but that's no big deal. They make them every day.
Hey, Marty.
Benny, you wanted to ask him something? Go ahead.
Ask Junior if he saw the wreck or did he have his eyes closed?
Did you see the wreck or did you have your eyes closed? Benny wants to know that. I'm sure he's had his eyes closed a few times, too.
Yeah, I was trying to do my damnedest to get off of the side of Steve's car because I knew once we hit the wall, my car was going to probably push him over the guardrail and into the infield. So just a bad deal, wasn't really nothing I could do. I was kind of in a bad situation in that wet grass.
All right, glad to see you're okay. And, of course, the bigger report, Steve Park is just fine. He'll be out, hopefully, in a moment.
What is left of Steve Park's Chevy? But the good part is, even though that front end and the back end are so severely crushed, that driver's cocoon that you were showing us a minute ago, Benny, on the Team Caliber 360 car, perfectly intact like it's supposed to be.
Man, there's some sheet metal for some auction sales, huh?
Fortunately, Steve is okay. We'll look to get a word from him when he comes from the care center. We're under the red flag while they repair the guardrail here at Pocono. Work continues over between turns 1 and 2. There's NASCAR President Mike Helton overseeing the repairs to that safety guardrail on the inside of the track. Let's go to Marty.
Well, Alan, Steve Park is out of the infield care center. Already got a hug from his general manager, Ty Norris, and a big high five from his spotter, Stevie Reeves. Tell us about your ride, Steve.
It was wild, but I just want to say thank God I'm okay. I mean, he definitely rode with me, and I want to tell Mom and Dad at home that I'm fine.
And that, I'm sure it was an emotional ride for you, but what are you thinking when that happens to you? Junior said he knew it was going to be bad when he locked kind of fenders with you.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be bad. You don't realize how fast you're going here, and when you get in the grass, you're lucky not to get upside down. And, with Junior pushing on the door and stuff, I mean, I knew we were going to hit the inside wall and have a chance of getting upside down, but the ride wasn't so bad as much as getting trapped in the race car. I mean, wear these protective head braces and Hans devices and stuff, and I mean, I was trapped. I mean, Pocono fortunately has really good safety workers that helped me get out of the Pennzoil car. And again, I just want to tell Mom and Dad at home that I'm okay.
I know that's got to be scary to be trapped. And Junior kind of said that's the downside of all the good safety material that we have today. But how trapped were you? I mean, could you not move at all?
I mean, I tried not to panic. I mean, you're upside down, you're disoriented. So I tried to get my bearings where I was. I knew I was upside down. And then I knew how to release the seat belts and not hit my head on the top of the car. And I mean, trying to get your feet out and get situated enough to get out of the window of the car, it's tough with all those devices that are in the car. I mean, they save you as long as you're right side up. When you're upside down, it's real tough to get out of the car. And I told Junior in the ambulance, I'm like, thank God that car didn't go on fire. He said, man, I was right there. I wouldn't let that happen. He said, if I had to push that car over myself and pull you out, I would have. So, I mean, again, just thank the God that I'm fine. And I know Mom and Dad at home. Just want to tell them I'm fine too.
And I know Junior was a welcome sight to you. What did he say to you when he first came up to the car?
He just said, hey, he was glad to see me, and he wanted to make sure I was okay. And I mean, we're a tight-knit family, and it's tough. We compete against each other on Sundays, but we're all friends during the week. And just to see his face, how happy he was, seeing me get out of the car, and he looked at me and said, "You okay?" And I looked him straight in the face, and said, "Yeah, I'm okay. I just don't like the fact that I was trapped." And again, the safety workers definitely helped me get out of the car. And if the car caught fire upside down like that, I mean, just thinking myself, it'd be real hard to get out of the race car. So, it's something that we're definitely going to look at.
All right, don't scare us like that again, okay? Glad to see you're okay. All right, Steve Park, just fine. Dave?
Well, Jimmy Johnson had a 200-mile-per-hour view of all that, or did you? What did you see, Jimmy?
I didn't really see much. Just talking with Craven and Jerry Nadeau, I guess we were 3 wide. I focused on getting underneath Rusty, got me down the front stretch, and I got inside of him coming off of 1. And for all I knew, I thought he was at the wall, and we're riding down there, door to door, and he disappears out of my view to the right side. And I looked in the mirror and I saw him all scattering behind. So evidently there was someone got in the back of him from behind. Something happened there. I guess I saw a yellow nose in my mirror when everything started happening. I assumed that Steve, looking at the wild ride he went through, but sounds like everybody's okay, and we don't have a scratch from the Los Monte Carlo, so we should be in good shape.
Okay, yeah, so you didn't nothing touched between you and Rusty at all. All of a sudden he was just gone.
Yeah, nothing touched. It's kind of a weird sensation when you're riding along at 200 and looking out the windshield, looking at the tunnel turn and what's coming up, and then in a blink of an eye the guy next to you is gone, and you look in the mirror and there's chaos everywhere. So just kind of, it's really too early in the race to have that kind of stuff happen. I have to see the replay to see what all went on. It just crazy stuff. We're all trying so hard, and all it takes is a fraction of an inch to mess things up.
Okay, well, it's a weird feeling, like he said, but it's also a good feeling because he didn't have to be involved in it. Alan?
As they continue the repairs of the guardrail down inside turns 1 and 2, we've talked about the luck part of trying to win a championship. Check this out. Look where Sterling Marlin is in relation to the wreck. Right behind it. Watch them all scatter around it, and he just comes right through the center of it, just clean as you please.
Right behind Ricky Craven.
Yep.
Looks like Ricky Craven was a guy that might have had a little bit of contact. I don't know if they were awfully close to Junior, and Steve Park were very, very close to the 32 tide ride. I don't know if there's any contact or not.
I think you might be right, BP. It looks like the 32 car may have been in the back of the 1 car a little bit.
But watch the silver car. Watch Sterling Marlin there. The bubble's over the top of his car, and watch how close he comes to being involved in this and turning his championship picture inside out. Right there in the middle of it. Still working on that guardrail over inside turns 1 and 2. They've got to get those posts in the ground and then bolt the cross members to it. We're under the red flag at Pocono.
Welcome back to the Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. We are under the red flag in the Pennsylvania 500, presented by Pep Boys after a violent crash involving Steve Park and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Both drivers are okay. The cars are gridded along the front stretch. They continue to work along the backstretch. Meanwhile, NASCAR President Mike Helton surveys the damage. And again, another testament to the safety innovations of the cars and the diligence and dedication the crews have to doing the work, putting those safety devices in those cars. I'm along pit road with Kevin Harvick, the winner at Chicagoland. And first of all, let's address the guys to put the safety equipment in these cars. We all talk about the research that goes into it, but the guys have to put it in the car for you to use.
Yeah, I mean, they spend hours on these race cars just putting the bodies and everything on, but they spend as much time in the cockpit of the race cars just making sure everything's where it needs to be. And I know NASCAR has made us pay a lot of attention to the inside of the cars. And you look at all these race cars, and if you look probably a year and a half ago this time, you probably wouldn't see anything inside the race cars in any of these drivers' cars that are the same. So I mean, after watching, me and Gil were just watching the hit that Steve Park and Junior took, and that was a pretty big hit, and just a huge testament to NASCAR and everybody that puts these race cars together.
I asked you a few minutes ago about your hardest hit. It's not something a driver really likes to think about, but you recalled a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, anytime you wreck hard, you remember it. You know, we've taken a couple of good shots this year, one at Bristol and one at Daytona right off the bat. But you know, that's part of our job. That's something that you have to climb out and get back and get right back in it and get at it. So I don't think that one car will be getting back at it today. I mean, that thing was pretty demolished, but I'm just glad to see that everybody was okay. And you know, the only thing I'm having a hard time with is I'm starting to get a conscience about this hair thing. I'm walking back, and Schrader says, "Man, you need to go put a hat on. Your hair looks bad." He says, "I thought my hair looked bad, but yours looks really bad."
That's from Yoakum picking on you the other day. Let's talk about a little brighter subject. You won at Chicagoland. Richard Childress Racing had 3 top 10s last week in New Hampshire, something this team had not done all year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a couple weeks before we had all 3 of them in the top 12. At Sears Point, we had them all in the top 14, and then we came back last week and had them all in the top 10. So, I mean, everybody from the engine shops to the fab shops to the whole RCR organization they don't like running bad, and you know, I don't like running bad, Jeff and Robbie, and none of these guys like running bad, but we all just put our heads down and went to work and really concentrating on what we were doing, and I think it's starting to show now. So we're looking forward to the second half of the year. It started off really well for us, and hopefully we can continue today.
Okay, have a great race. Good luck with the hair thing.
All right, thanks.
Okay, let's go further down pit road to Dave.
And right now, Ricky Craven is surveying the damage on the front of his Tide Ford. And Ricky, first of all, tell us, is that car in need of major repairs? And then again, tell us what happened out there, what you saw.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to come down pit road and fix it. We have the luxury of most of the race, so it's the time to fix it. But it got real crowded. Rusty was in the middle, Steve was on the outside, and it appeared as though Rusty thought he was clear, and Steve had enough on the outside of him that when Rusty moved up, he got into the wall, and then it got extremely crowded. The Tide Ford slid through there, and really, I think, you know, the good news was that Steve walked away, and that got everybody's attention. It was violent, and that was the priority, was to see Steve walking. And
how did you react when you saw it getting crowded in front of you?
I turned left, and you know, you don't have many options at that point. First of all, you don't expect it that early in the race, and you know, I'm glad Steve's okay. So that's again the priority. But it's pretty easy to be critical of that situation, because you look at the guys involved and you say, well, you know, I've been racing long enough so that don't need to happen that early on, and we'll bring the car down pit road and get it fixed. But the key is that we got through it okay, and it's not going to ruin our day. We're going to have to recover from it, but it's not going to ruin our day.
All right, well, hopefully it won't ruin his day. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Dave, down here in the 13th position is Dale Jarrett. You followed the 40 through that mess. Take us through what you saw, DJ.
Well, as we got on the straightaway, I just saw a cloud of smoke all of a sudden, and then Steve Park came across in front of me, but it was right in front of the 8, and I saw those two start heading towards the infield. I knew it couldn't be good, but it was a close call for a lot of people. Just glad that the guys are okay. That's the main thing. Hate to see that happen, especially at the beginning of a race. We got 500 miles here, you know, long time to sort things out. But the main thing is they're okay, and we'll go back to racing here.
Now, safety has continued to increase, especially in the headrest area. Now, with that, vision has decreased. Can you kind of show us your right side headrest and how you've developed it so that way you can still see to the right?
Yeah, what we did here was kind of take it, and I wanted something that was really strong in case I had hard impact, but I also didn't want to take away my vision over here. The first one that we came with, I think at Charlotte last year, kept it to where I couldn't really see out the right side like I wanted to, and that's still very important. You know, we have great spotters up here and we have these mirrors, but you also need to be able to use your peripheral vision and look over here, and that's what we've been able to develop. My guys have really worked hard with this. I think it's something that's really strong and safe, but yet it doesn't impair my vision.
Now, talking to a lot of different spotters, they all say going into one, off of one and over by the tunnel turn, that's where they don't have the best vision from their perspective high atop the grandstand. Does it rely more on the driver to kind of go with a little bit more of a gut instinct?
Yeah, it's always up to the driver wherever you are if it's coming down this front stretch, but especially there, you've got to understand these guys are a long ways away, and what they could be able to see is probably speculative as far as being very sure on their part as to what they can really do and help you. So it's up to the driver. We're the ones that are in control of these things, and we have to be accountable for everything that takes place.
Dale Jarrett looking for another win here at Pocono, trying to become the 5th driver, Alan, to sweep both races here at Pocono in a single season. He made it through the first one.
Yeah, so far it's Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Steve Park, the 3 drivers involved who are back in the garage area. Check the Wendy's race menu, Brickyard 400 time. Next weekend, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 2 Eastern time on NBC. Then we go to the road course in Watkins Glen, Michigan, and Bristol later on in the month of August.
Pocono Raceway, Long Pond, Pennsylvania, under the red flag after an early crash involving Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Park. Both drivers are okay. The fans patiently waiting it out as they continue repairs on the guardrail along the backstretch here on the 2.5-mile Pocono Raceway. A lot of people down here on pit road talking things over. Jimmy Spencer is here talking to Tony Glover and Michael McSwain. Jimmy, you're from Berwick, Pennsylvania, and you have a little message inside your car. A helicopter is currently landed because of the red flag situation, but you have a message on your dash.
Yeah, you know, we all know what happened at the mine here a couple days ago, and to think they got all those guys out and they're healthy. I mean, that's just incredible. The good Lord had their hands on them. And we put a little message in there. Chip called us up today and says, make sure you get something on that dash thanking those miners being back. And you know, it's close to Chip's home. He's right over here in Pittsburgh, and to think that all the people that worked hard to save those guys' lives is pretty special. And it means a lot of military. You know, there's so many military people coming to the races. They're big race fans. If it wasn't for those armed services across the water protecting us, we couldn't be racing. So there's just a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes of this country that I don't think that we give credit enough to. And for those guys not give up hope in that mine and knowing that all those men and women worked their tails off to save them. They didn't know if they were alive or not, and then they come out of there alive. That just goes to show you there's a good Lord above.
I'm a New Jersey boy, and you're a Pennsylvania guy, so help me out. We're in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, Pocono Manor, Pennsylvania. Somerset County is where that was going on, I believe. How far away is that?
That's pretty far. It's a couple hundred miles west of us. We're in the northeast sector of we're near New York, New Jersey and stuff, Pocono Mountains, great vacation area, but yet Somerset is over towards Pittsburgh area, the other side of the greatest football team in all of the nation, Penn State.
Oh, man.
But then you got the Pittsburgh high school, Pittsburgh College too, but you know, it's over there on the western side, not far from Pittsburgh, great area over there, a lot of coal, West Virginia area, that's where it's at over in that part, so, you know, a lot of quarries. A lot of hard work goes in there. A lot of people out of Pennsylvania work hard for a living over there, and I'm just glad those guys are all right.
Okay, man, thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Matt.
Well, Bill, Michael Waltrip sits 4th here on the grid, literally. Now, what does it do to a driver's psyche to have to start then stop a race like this?
Well, you know, you just have to be prepared for anything. That's why experience is such a benefit. You know, you can't get too high at the start of a race or too low when something like this happens. You just have to keep kind of mental balance. And so I just think about my car. I was happy with it on my half lap I got to run, and was real happy with it yesterday in practice. So just optimistic that we can challenge today for the win. We've been consistent, but I want to race for the win, and I think we can do that today.
Now, your teammate Steve Park had difficulty getting out of his race car. That happened to you twice last year.
Yeah, it's a real issue, and NASCAR's addressing it. We've got to get these bigger roll cages on these race cars in order to allow better in and out for the driver. I was going to say egress, degress, but I get confused about those. But so we can get in and out easier. It's really, really important. And also, I think it could be a benefit from competition-wise. It would stand the top of the car up higher, slow the cars down on the straightaway, create a bigger drag behind the car, so maybe drafting would come into play at more places, such as they do in the trucks at Michigan and so forth. So to me, competition is great these days. It's great to have TNT and Fox and NBC and everybody involved in the broadcasting of the races. You got fun driver personalities to watch. The thing we got to work on is just making the cars bigger, and hopefully that would just be a benefit in a lot of areas.
Now, you're a big dude, what, about 6'5"? It has to be more difficult for you getting out of a race car in a very quick situation than, say, maybe Mark Martin.
Well, that's why I've always been really an advocate for the bigger cars, and have gone to Mike Helton and NASCAR and told them over and over again what I see, what I think, because I'm going to notice things tightening up on me before Mark Martin is going to, because of my stature. You know, the cars have gotten smaller over the years, smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's really not necessary. You know, we've kept the wheelbase the same, basically. We can keep the engine size the same. We can dictate that the cars have to be a certain size. You know, GM, Ford, all the manufacturers in Detroit have downsized over the years. I understand that, but a race car doesn't have to follow those lines. It can still look like a race car and have a bigger shell for the drivers to get in and out of the car. So, you know, that'll be a real bonus to the taller drivers. And as you march forward, if you look at this sport in 20 years from now, you don't want the cars to continue to shrink where a guy like me might not even get a chance one day. You know, Richard Petty in his heyday stood 6'2" or 3" and weighed 230 pounds. What if it was 20 years from now and we never got to know Richard Petty because of his size? That wouldn't be fair to the fans. It wouldn't be fair to the driver who don't fit. So I think it's a real issue, and I constantly remind NASCAR my feelings on that. And so hopefully they'll listen, and we can. I know the ball's heading in that direction. I know they're working on it, and we can make these changes so that the cars will be safer. Speaking of safety, I'm glad my buddy Steve got out. I'm happy about that. I want to say hello to Blaze Alexander's family while we're here in his hometown and tell him that we think about him often.
And they also dedicated the ARCA garage in his honor.
Yeah, Blaze was such a wonderful human being, sorely missed by many people. And last night, Schrader and I talked to Danny Lasowski, and he's doing well. So that was good to hear Danny's voice, and just want the public at home to know that even though the world keeps turning and we keep showing up racing week in and week out, there's a lot of people that are here with us today in spirit, even though they're not here physically.
Now, for folks at home who may not know Blaze Alexander, he's a young man from Montoursville, Pennsylvania. He was tragically killed last fall at Charlotte in an ARCA crash. He's a very popular driver, best friends with Winston Cup star Jimmy Johnson. In fact, he has 2 different decals on his race car today in memory of his fallen friend. Marty?
Well, Matt, Jeff Burton had a little too good of a view of that wreck, and you brought up a great point to me. You have one solution that you think will help racetracks overall. What is it?
Well, I don't know. Of course, I hadn't seen the whole wreck. I've only seen little parts of it, but you know, it's rained a lot today, and the grass is wet. So when he did get on the grass, that wasn't a good thing. So I would imagine in the future we'd see, you know, the back straightaway here get paved so that it would scrub some speed off. But again, I haven't seen the wreck in its entirety. I've only seen from my perspective, and I came down the front straightaway once, and these big screen TVs that they have up, I got a chance to watch it from in the race car on replay, but I haven't analyzed it enough to truly make a statement. But I do know that generally asphalt slows the car down much more than grass does. People think when a car hits grass, it takes off, goes faster. I don't think it goes faster. I just don't think it slows down like it does in asphalt, especially with the grass is wet. But you know, you know, everything we do can be looked at and figured out how to make it better. And maybe that's a valid point. Maybe it's not.
And they've done that at places like Talladega, where it used to be grass and now it's asphalt. Let's talk about the inside of your race car real quick. And Steve was telling us how he was trapped inside the race car. How do you get trapped inside the race car with all this safety stuff? Take us through that real quick.
Well, again, I haven't seen the inside of his car, so I don't want to comment too much and, you know, say exactly this is what happened. I'd be speaking out of turn. But I do know that everything's made to hold the driver down and to keep him from going left and right, up, and, you know, and when you get upside down, now all the weight's on the belts, and it's hard to unhook your belts. And then with all the new head supports and all that, your shoulders actually sit below the head support. So when you do unhook and you're upside down, you fall on it hits your shoulders. So it's very awkward getting out of the cars when it's upright and normal. It's hard to get out of the cars today, much less when the car is upside down or on its side or whatever it is. It would just make it that much harder, I think.
We saw that guardrail get pretty torn up over there, and that probably did soften the impact a little bit, wouldn't you say?
Well, again, I didn't. I've said this.
Yeah, you haven't seen it. I know.
But you know, I'm not a big fan of guardrail. But I didn't. In this incident, it may have helped. It may not. I don't know. We've continually taken guardrail out for certain reasons. In some cases, you know, if you hit it just right, guardrail is really great. And the majority of times, guardrail is not a good thing. But in this case, it may have helped. It, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just glad. I'm glad he's okay. You know, it's a pretty big event, and it's good to see he's okay. He's had enough hard hits. He doesn't need any more.
Wally asked me to ask you if it's harder when you're upside down when you take the steering wheel out to get out. I didn't understand that question.
Well,
okay, you go, Wally. You ask him.
Well, I just said another thing when you're upside down is you've got to, when you undo the straps, you've got to take the wheel off to get off, and you've got that spline sitting right there that you don't want to
he's
fall
talking
on
about the
either.
spline. You know, when you're upside down, that's in the way. You know, too.
Well, it is. You've got the, you know, in my car, I've got a steering column. I got a deal here to keep my legs from, my knees from hyperextending in a big impact. I got a lot of things going here that aren't a big deal when you're right, you know, right side up. But you get upside down, now you got to come out of this thing. Your legs are underneath the dash. They're all crammed underneath the steering column. It's just hard to get out of the thing. And again, it's hard to get out of it anyway. All the head supports are great for hitting. They're just not good for getting in and out. I actually, you know, I've hurt my shoulder getting in and out of the car before with all the new head supports. It's part of what it's part of evolution. We're making things better, but everything has a negative. And one of the negatives is it's harder to get out. And that's one of the major concerns people have in this system is if the car is on fire, how do I get out? Yeah. And it is difficult to get out. It's very difficult to get out. I guess you weigh your options and you say, okay, there's more opportunity to get hurt just from hitting than it is to catch on fire. So you try to take care of the majority of things that can happen. But there's ways, you know, we need to continue to improve. That's the whole thing about racing in general. You know, what we're doing today isn't going to be good enough tomorrow, not only in safety, but in competition and everything we do. It's always evolving.
But the general consensus seems to be, Alan, that the bigger greenhouse would help in case of the fire Jeff talked about, and that's what everybody seems to think here on pit road.
Everybody sitting along pit road right now under the red flag as they continue the repairs to the guardrail inside turns 1 and 2. There's that sign inside Jimmy Spencer's car. Welcome back, miners.
Attaboy, Jimmy.
And a huge tip of the cap to the rescue workers who just persevered night and day and kept at it until they got him out. Glad that all turned out well. We'll come back to Pocono in just a minute on TNT. And at Pocono Raceway, the field is rolling off the pit lane, getting ready to resume the Pennsylvania 500 after a 1 hour and 5 minute red flag to make repairs to the guardrail inside turns 1 and 2. NASCAR President Mike Helton has stepped over into the booth to join us. Mike, you went out there and surveyed the scene a little while ago. Tell us, it was pretty extensive, the damage over there.
Yeah, it took out probably about 100 feet of guardrail on the backstretch back there, and the guardrail was important to protect the infield area from the race cars, which it served its purpose earlier today, and we need to make sure it stayed that way.
We talked about Steve, and the guardrail gave and probably helped his injury situation, but when you come back here next year, you think that wall will still be metal or going to concrete wall?
Well, I think, you know, George Ewald and the crew from Pocono back there and did a great job putting everything back together, and I think that Doc and George will take a look at maybe making that a little bit stronger, a little bit taller, but it served its purpose today. It took us a while to get it back together, but we're ready to go again.
This is one of the situations, though, while you talk about guardrails and the study of safe walls, soft walls as they're called, needs to be extensively done. You've been pretty adamant about being hesitant about this.
Yeah, and if you'll recall, in the history of the sport, we started off racing with no guardrails at all, and then had the Armco barriers that was typical of what was back there. And we've evolved into the concrete exterior walls, and now we're working on the next evolution of that. But there is a downfall to this Armco barrier, like we saw today. It takes a lot of time to put things back together, but we're pleased that nobody was hurt. Steve's in a good spirits, Dale Jr.'s in good spirits, and we're ready to go back to it.
How close are the energy-absorbing walls to coming to these racetracks?
Well, it's closer than it's ever been. Next week at the Brickyard 400, we'll have them in place there. Indianapolis was the test model to begin the development of the walls, so therefore it makes a whole lot of sense for it to be the first facility where we actually put them into practice. And as we speak, there's development going on to where we can conquer tight radius issues as well as issues on steep banks like a Bristol or Talladega and Daytona. But Dean Sickens and the folks at the University of Nebraska have done a great job, and we expect to see more of them as we go.
All right, Mike. Thanks for the update. Let's get back next door, and we'll get back to racing. You see,
I can have my spot back.
Yeah, Wally's sitting over here in the corner pouting because you cut him out of the herd. But number of cars have visited pit road here on the under the caution flag to try and top off the fuel tank.
Because now you don't know. I mean, fuel might be an issue.
Well, it always is here, it seems like.
But even more so now because of that storm of brewing.
Yeah, a brewing.
I like that.
All right, let's reset it for you. Ricky Rudd is the leader. Bill Elliott is second. Jeremy Mayfield is third. Michael Waltrip fourth. And Ryan Newman is fifth. Then you've got Johnny Benson, Tony Stewart, John Andretti, Jerry Nadeau, and Jimmy Johnson, who round out the top 10. We only ran one lap, not even a full lap, before the caution flag came out. So basically, we're starting from scratch, save for the laps that have been run under the caution.
And Ricky Craven was talking about bringing that Tide ride to pit road. So far, that has not happened. Still in the 11th position.
First car that pitted was the Elliott Sadler car, who was running 24th at the time. And people behind him all bailed out, came down pit road, and topped off the fuel. Getting the 1 to go signal at the start-finish line. That's great news. Again, just joining us, Steve Park, Dale Earnhardt Jr., both okay after the accident. Let's make our singular call to the pits now. Bill?
Well, thank you, Alan. One car that did not stop here would, of course, be the 28 car of Ricky Rudd, the race leader. Doesn't want to give up that track position, doing fine so far. Called in to make sure his guys checked his tires when they were under the red flag. Took a good look at him. Everything's okay. Ricky's turned off his fan, says his temperature is fine. Big break for this team being out front. Single file restart. Not much traffic heading into turn 1. You can't say that as you go a little deeper in the field. Mike McSwain and company brought the same car that almost won here in June. Dave?
Bill, Ricky Craven decided not to come in. They decided not to give up track position. They'd already picked up 5 positions on the track. The crew, however, has this tape patch ready, and they went over to a diagram at the front of the car to show that they want to cover up a little bit of the damage on the left front so that that car has a little bit more left front downforce when they have an opportunity, but that will be under caution and not right now. Marty?
Dave, this is a critical race for Sterling Marlin, and they're trying something new inside the 40 car. They are shifting twice here at Pocono. What that does is it keeps the RPMs down. The first time they tried it was yesterday in happy hour. Sterling has a new transmission in his car, and it's an important race because he is the points leader. 136 was his points lead here in June. It is now down to 55. They have trimmed it that much. Matt?
Marty, before his win at New Hampshire, Ward Burton told me he'd been bitten by the bad luck bug 9 times this year, and then he went out and won his second race this season. He comes into Pocono, he spun during qualifying, and now the concern is the team's transmission. Ward said under the yellow that his car had trouble going. When he went to go into 3rd gear, the transmission was very tight. He said that it is a concern. Remember, back in June, he lost 3rd gear, so the team is a little concerned, Alan.
So some of the stories on competitors in the Pennsylvania 500 as we get set to go back racing. The green flag will come out at the completion of the 8th circuit of this race. Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, Jeremy Mayfield, Michael Waltrip, and Ryan Newman going to lead him down for the restart. Much to the delight of this crowd. Those two.
Here comes the fan. Sterling Marlin trying to get alongside Ricky Rudd. Looks like Sterling is going to get a great restart.
Ricky Craven,
yeah, Ricky Rudd's the leader of the race.
Ryan Newman picking up a spot from Michael Waltrip on the jump into turn 1. 4th place. And we're past the accident scene from lap 1. Johnny Benson inside of John Andretti. Not quite.
But he backed off. You see, he backed off. He might have had position. Later in the race, he might go on under those conditions. But right now, decided, hey, let me back off. And Craven maintains that position on Sterling Marlin.
The straightaways are so long here. You definitely get a draft. On the straightaway as well as a long pond straightaway, you really do pick up a draft from these cars. Coming off of turn 1 here, as you're getting into 2, you'll pick up a big draft right where Bill Elliott is like right now with Ricky Rudd. If you're going to make the pass going into turn 2, you need to be about where Sterling is. You've got to be at least side by side or have the nose on the door. Then it's pretty much your corner because a guy on the outside, wow.
Wow, did you see Craven?
So much for my theory.
Drive in on the outside.
You're about to say you don't want to drive in there on the outside, weren't you?
Yeah, but
lead change.
You do. You want to get on the inside. As long as you're up beside him, you can drive it down in there. That outside groove will get slicker and slicker as this race goes on.
Bill Elliott puts the red Dodge back out in front.
And look at that Dodge just pull away from Ricky Rudd off of turn 3.
Jeremy Mayfield going to try Ricky Rudd for second into the corner.
And Rudd loses 2 spots all of a sudden. And Tony Stewart has moved up to that 5th spot.
Yep, took that away from Michael Waltrip just a lap ago. Here comes Ryan Newman.
Usually the outside guy is going to give. Unless you're the points leader, if you're on the inside, you may give. Yeah. Like Sterling did.
So Newman to 3rd, Rudd to 4th. And Tony Stewart's going to try him there.
Here's another spot. You need to at least show your nose to the door in order for the guy to know you're there, to be able to get up on the inside of a guy in turn 3. But once you're on the inside, it's real difficult staying side by side down this long straightaway.
Tony Stewart right up on the back bumper of Rudd. Cannot make a move. Meanwhile, they're side by side. Joe Nemechek on the inside of Johnny Benson.
This is 13th place, BP.
And look how that outside line is being used more and more by these drivers, Wally.
Yeah, it looks really good. There's a lot of racing room up there in turn 1. And this is a really fun place to pass. Here we got 3 abreast. Somebody's definitely going to have to give big here.
Yeah, this is big. Back off somebody.
Benson, Blaney in the yellow car.
And that really slows the pack down when that happens, because everybody's got to get off the gas for it to get sorted out.
Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, caught on the outside.
Oh, the 3 wide behind him.
Yo.
Jimmy Johnson trying to boldly go where you're
can't
not supposed to. There was a cliche there, but I caught myself. There's Jeff Gordon trying to pick his way up through. He's back in 22nd place. Trying to get 21st away from his teammate, Jimmy Johnson. Ricky Rudd's been slipping back a little bit, Bill. What's up?
Well, Alan, he's running his pace, but the other guys are beating him off the turns. And what Ricky believes is that some of these guys, like Marty Snyder talked about earlier today, are shifting twice, and that's where Ricky's getting killed off the turns. He simply can't run with the guys that are shifting twice. So they have more RPMs, faster speeds, drops to 28, deeper in the field.
What happens when you shift twice? That means you have more gear ratio as you come off these corners and more oomph, more horsepower.
Tony Stewart trying to close in on Ryan Newman in the 12 for 3rd place.
Yeah, Ben, it used to be a lot of guys would just shift one time. They downshift going into turn 1, and they would keep it in 3rd gear all the way around until they got to about the start-finish line. Now they're downshifting in 1, upshifting right about where these guys are here in between 1 and 2, then downshifting again, getting into turn 3.
The downside of this, the overdrive that they have to run in the transmission is like a .90. 3rd gear would be 1-to-1, just like you'd have in 4th gear in your car. They shift into 4th, that's overdrive like a .90.
Newman stuck the nose under the back bumper.
That's right. Here goes Newman into the 2nd spot. Tony Stewart trying to follow. The problem is if the engine is turning 9,000 RPMs, the drive shaft is turning over 10,000 RPMs.
Okay, let's listen to Ryan Newman here.
See if he shifts down the back stretch.
Here he comes out of turn 1.
Up.
He is not shifting it twice, by the sounds of that. If he were shifting twice, he'd be downshifting here when he gets into turn 3.
So we can see as he goes across about 8,600 across the short tube. Now here, oh, look at him fight that wheel coming off that flat corner. Now watch him shift about the start-finish line. He gets to about 9,000.
I can't believe he's not shifting at all.
What? Look at that.
9,500, that car will not last 500 miles.
Ryan, you're supposed to pull it back and forth. Man, oh man.
That is twisting the engine. Let's see what we get here in turn 2.
That's 9,200.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Larry Wallace and those guys, I hope they aren't watching this.
Yeah.
They'll be nervous.
The engine builder.
See, one thing about twisting the engine like this, you don't have to use as much brake because you're using the engine's RPMs to slow you down. So you're not having to use the brake pedal as much. But boy, that is hard on an engine.
He's fighting that car off that flat corner, too. Newman running second. Tony Stewart is third. Jeremy Mayfield is fourth and Ricky Rudd is fifth, but they're all running behind Bill Elliott. Started on the pole, gave up the lead to Ricky Rudd, but now he's back out in front of the Pennsylvania 500. Bill Elliott still leads the Pennsylvania 500, presented by Pep Boys from the Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. This is the first race in the Pep Boys. When your car wins, you win sweepstakes, starting today and concluding with the Chevrolet Monte Carlo 400 in Richmond on September 7th. You can stop by any Pep Boys and pick up a sweepstakes game piece. Scratch off where it says car number and prize. And if your car wins any Winston Cup race between today and that Richmond race, you win the corresponding prize. All prize winners, in addition, who mail in their game piece will be eligible for the grand prize, a trip to 3 Winston Cup races in 2003. Mike Skinner carrying our Pep Boys camera today.
Mike's shifting. Now that looks like a guy that's shifting twice because he upshifted, then downshifted before turn 2. Now what he'll do is he'll hold it here. He'll go through turn 3, and then he'll grab high gear around the start-finish line.
When he gets about 8,500, you'll see him shift.
Go.
See it back up just a little bit, and he's going to turn about 8,800, 8,900 going down in turn 1. Ooh, way up the racetrack, trying to use that outside line.
He's got somebody down on the inside, and there's Bobby the Bonnie.
A tussle for second place here. Tony Stewart's after Ryan Newman.
And there goes Tony. Well, I tell you, Tony Stewart in that 20 car is making a terrific exit off turn 3. What about the 12 car, Dave?
Well, BP, you were looking at the in-car on Ryan to see whether or not he was shifting, right?
Yes.
Did he ever grab the shifter knob?
I didn't see that.
Well, I went up to Matt Borland, his crew chief, and I said, he's not shifting. How can that be? And Matt said, oh, yeah, he's shifting one time. But, see, I learned something about Matt this weekend, that he plays a lot of poker, and he took money from about 4 of his teammates this weekend. But then again, they said he had 5 aces. So we still don't have a straight answer on shifting.
Well, we got the video, so I'll take our answer. What do you think, BP?
He did shift that one time we were on board with him.
If he shifted into high gear and he's pulling 9,500 RPMs going into turn 1, then they need to put that engine in bronze if it goes the distance.
What's that? Somebody saying it's raining in 3?
That's what I thought I heard him say.
That was Ryan Newman's radio, but no caution flag. Johnny Benson might have some problems. What's going on there, Matt?
Alan, Johnny Benson currently in the 19th position. James, have you lost all radio contact with Johnny?
Yeah, right now we don't have anything. We can hear Johnny. He can't hear us. He doesn't know that we can hear him, and it makes it difficult. And, the hardest part for right now is, the spotting issue. This is awful fast racetrack, him not having spotters. So we think we got a good car. We just have to be pretty cautious right now.
Now, you and I were joking around that this happened last week with Jerry Nadeau. And what were you and Johnny talking about?
Well, it was kind of funny last week. Jerry got really frustrated. About 150 to go, we lost some radios, thought we should have won the race. And in Jerry's frustration, he broke the mirror out of the car with his fist. So we kind of talked about it, was laughing Friday, and we've at least got a plan worked out if it ever happens again. We didn't always have to put it in effect today, but hopefully we can work through this.
You worked the hand signals out. The hand on the roof means?
Hand on the roof is tight, hand on the door top is loose.
And since they don't have any radio contact, they have fixed up an old-fashioned pit sign. Tape on a piece of aluminum means pit. If the car is good, they're hoping Johnny will give them the OK sign, Alan.
You hear all the spotters and the crew chiefs talking to their drivers, and you see the caution flag. Rain here at Pocono brings out yellow flag number 2.
And Joe Nemechek is on pit road. Do you think did he pit too soon, or do you think he was able to get on pit road before the caution flag came out?
I am monitoring the radio traffic between NASCAR race director David Hoots and the inspector at the opening of pit road. They're asking just that question, and his answer is he was there just about at the same time. So Ty goes to the runner.
Yep.
And Nemechek's good on his pit stop.
Well, terrific.
That
very smart move on Joe Nemechek's part.
That's Ryan Patty, the crew chief, with the heads-up call there.
But I don't understand why they didn't change 4 tires. Well, maybe I do now because he's almost about to get lapped. I see. He would have gotten lapped if he had changed 4 tires, probably.
So the yellow flag once again, this time for some raindrops peppering the Pocono Raceway. We were under the caution at lap 1. Steve Park, Rusty Wallace, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. were involved in a terrible crash off turn number 1. After an hour and 5-minute red flag, we got going again, and now the weather is infringing on our fun.
And we can see the raindrops on the Napa Chevrolet of Michael Waltrip on the camera lens. This is Jeffrey Bodine, by the way.
Yep.
Todd ran the Busch race yesterday in Pikes Peak. Did not fly back to run today.
Yeah, I didn't feel like they wanted to go through the process again of starting at the back with somebody who hadn't practiced a lap in the car. And since Todd is committed by contract to that Excedrin Busch Series ride, and Jeffrey knows what he's doing here.
And talking to the crew this morning, Jeffrey Bodine was very thrilled with the car. Said, you know, I might have a car that can win the race here today.
He has won here before. 3 times, as a matter of fact. Well, you know it's raining when the spotters are covering up on the roof.
Eddie Thrapp trying to put a garbage bag over his head. He would look good in that.
You know he'll hear you said that, too.
That.
Yeah. Yeah, they're covering up. There's Eddie.
Yeah. There must be a bottom of this thing. Oh, there's an arm.
There he goes. It's hard to figure out.
Now, how you going to make that work?
All right.
Very nice. The finest and fashionable rainwear on display here at Pocono Raceway. For some. For others, it's not raining. Drop that green flag. Let's go. Pit stops will be at lap 25. Bill Elliott's going to lead him in.
And my guess is that everyone except Joe Nemechek will come down pit road.
Johnny Benson's crew no doubt will look to fix their radio troubles. Ricky Craven's crew will stick that tape Band-Aid on his car that we saw earlier. Dave?
The 32 car of Ricky Craven is going to come in. The 20 car of Tony Stewart in. Ricky Craven for the damage to be fixed. As for Tony Stewart, he said he needed to roll through the center of the corner better, so they're going to make a chassis adjustment as well as an air pressure adjustment.
Bill Elliott, Tony Stewart is moving 15.1. Elliott having trouble on that left side. Finally down, but long pit stop for Bill Elliott. He will go back to about 6th or 7th.
Sterling Marlin and Dave Blaney are going to get out first. Want to follow up and see whether they got 4 tires. Now, Marty?
It was 2 tires for the points leader. Allen just a little bit tight. They went up one round on the track bar. He started 13th, moved up to 7th. Very happy with the car, and they made no changes other than that track bar adjustment.
Gets him the lead, gets him 5 bonus points toward the championship.
Except Nemechek is out there in front of him.
This is true. Rats foiled again. Under caution for the 2nd time in the Pennsylvania 500. Just before the caution came out, we were monitoring Ricky Rudd's traffic back and forth between Michael McSwain and himself.
Pretty good. I'm a little loose coming onto the front straightaway. That's probably the only place I'm loose at. Like I say, they look like they've got 100 horsepower more than I do off the corner. That advantage is going away a little bit. It was with the 19 car. They got a different gearbox.
Yeah, so he's right. Well, first of all, if you're loose getting off a 3 or you're pushing off a 3 and the guy you're following isn't, he's going to look like he's got 100 more horsepower.
Because if you can't go all the way down with the accelerator to the floor, you know you're not going to use all the horsepower you have.
I'd like to see, I'm glad to see that somebody else uses hand motions when they're talking on the radio in their car. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Ricky was doing that. I've done that before, and then I go, why am I doing that? He can't see my hands.
Check out that white car at the head of the field, who did not pit under the caution. That is Morgan Shepherd, leading a Winston Cup race for the first time since June 1st of 1997. Wow. Isn't that great?
Berlin City. And all the cheers that you hear is not for the rain.
It's for Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving the Bud car back on pit road, getting ready to go back in the action once the red flag is lifted.
It's going to be some 27 laps down to the race leaders when he comes back, but you heard Junior talk about it earlier, trying to crack that top 10 in the championship standings. He is 16th now. And really, as bad as that wreck was, they're getting back out without losing a ton of ground as far as laps.
It doesn't take much, Alan, for a couple guys to have mechanical problems or have trouble, and each one of those spots is so important to pick up for points when you're running for the championship. Or, like Earnhardt said, he's trying to get in the top 10 right now.
Yep. Red flag is out. Pennsylvania 500 is stopped for a second time, this time because of rain.
And it looks like they did a pretty good job on that car.
It does look good. You know, right now, if Junior goes back on the racetrack, when this race restarts, he'll be in front of Rusty Wallace, so he automatically picks up 3 points. And then if he can finish the race and 4 or 5 more cars will have trouble fall out, that's another 15 points he could pick up. So
looks like they replaced the whole front end on that car. You see all that stuff down on the bottom here. That's all brand new because that stuff was torn off in the wreck earlier.
And a little tape on the right rear quarter panel is all that was required.
Big Band-Aids.
That's the before shot, or
yeah, the after shot.
Before shot.
This is
after
the before
the crash.
shot. Yeah. And look at this is the radiator that's laying down flat. Just knocked it completely out of the car. Huh.
Tony Uri Sr. just walking out of the camera away from Dale Jr. and his crew doing a great job to get that car repaired and get Junior back in the hunt. But the big headline right now is it's raining at Pocono, and the Pennsylvania 500 is under the red flag. TNT Sports is live at Pocono International Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, where the Pennsylvania 500 is under a red flag for the second time. Haven't gotten very far in this one. Only 27 laps of the 200 scheduled are complete. It's been a kind of a bruising and wet start to what was expected to be an exciting afternoon of rain. Of rain.
You big dummy, Alan.
I got ahead of myself here. But I digress. Let's go back to the beginning with our Pepsi race recap. You want to handle this for me?
No.
Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd led the field to the green flag just after 1 Eastern time with rain threatening, but we just got through the first corner on the first lap. Calamity struck. Steve Park touching with Rusty Wallace, getting turned to the inside, hooking with Dale Earnhardt Jr., pounding the inside guardrail, which fortunately gave way and absorbed some of the blow. Savage crash, sending Park's car end over end. Fortunately, despite all the destruction and damage, as his teammate Dale Jr. ran over to check on him, he found Park was just fine, and Steve climbed from the wreck after figuring out how to extricate himself from all the safety equipment, and he is okay. 100 feet of guardrail torn down in that. After an hour and 5-minute red flag to repair it, we went racing again, but only till lap number 25. And the rain started falling on turn 3, then spread across the front stretch. Now it's all over this giant 2.5-mile track. And we are once again under the red flag in the Pennsylvania 500. An exciting afternoon of rain. I think that might have been a Freudian thing there, yeah. Jeff Burton and all the other drivers out of the cars for the second time in a race.
Now it starts getting aggravating. One time you can kind of deal with it. Now BP, now when you're out and you're in, you're out, now it starts getting aggravating. Hey, Marty, what's happening down there?
Well, I have found Sterling Marlin, and Lee McCullough's crew chief is over here. Lee, come on over here because he got the Smart Guy Award for going to the radar and checking it out before the pit stops. That's why you took 2 tires, and that certainly helped you out, didn't it, taking 2 tires?
Yeah, it did. I mean, we probably only got 15 green laps on them, too, so we only needed 8 seconds of fuel, and didn't really make sense to put on forward, and 2 tires worked really good for us here last time, so need to get up there and lead a lap and get us 5 bonus points, and hopefully keep that Coors Light Dodge out front.
That was a good call. All right, let's ask Sterling about the wreck. Boy, you barely made it through that thing. What was your view of that wreck?
I seen the 2 car. We come off turn 1 and seen the 2 car just all of a sudden go to the right, and I saw, oh no, he's going to come back across the track, and he stuck on the fence, and for some reason the 1 car sent just a blurry yellow go across, and just opened up in front of us. So we just lucky to miss it. Started right in the middle of it.
Your race car was pretty good, though. Started 13th, had made it up to 7th, Sterling.
Yeah, we did. It's a pretty good car. It was good yesterday evening, and just a long race here, just taking our time. We're a little bit tight right now, and we'll get it freed up. We'll try to get to Coors Light Dodge and Victory Lane.
How's that shifting twice thing going? You got to remind yourself every lap now, because you've never done it before yesterday.
Now, when I passed Michael, I had to leave it fourth because, going down there side by side, it's you get pretty busy. So had to go through that corner in fourth, but popped up third coming off. It's pretty good. I didn't really like it before, but the car's really driving good and not too busy. So we can go ahead and shift now.
All right, there's your points leader, guys. Currently in third. Alan?
On Discover Card Countdown to Green, Bill Weber asked our NASCAR.com Race Talk poll which driver has the best chance of catching Sterling Marlin for the championship. Here are your responses.
143,000 people voted Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, the two contenders or pretenders, whichever.
Which is interesting because Gordon is 5th in points. And the guys that are in 3rd and 4th ahead of him and behind Mark Martin, people don't seem to feel like have as good a chance.
And Sterling Marlin being in 2nd spot and Mark Martin back in the field. Huge gain if the race were to end now, but obviously we got a lot more racing to go.
Matt Yoakum, your turn.
Well, Alan, Marty mentioned that Lee McCall gets the Smart Guy Award. Well, Brian Patty gets the Smartest Guy Award because you guys were working a little bit of pit strategy there, weren't you?
Yes, my hat's off to Brian Patty. He called me in right when the rain. Actually, it was a lap before, but between the radios and Mark Martin beat me on the back bumper is all I could do just to keep it straight off at 3, and came in the next lap and caution come out. So now we're at the front of the field, so it's pretty cool.
Now, how was your race car running?
We were a little bit loose. We started out really good, passed a bunch of cars, and then I got a little bit too loose. But Brian, he made a whole bunch of adjustments there, and we haven't been loose since we've been here except for qualifying with a flat tire. So I just got to thank Papa Joe Hendrick, Rick Hendrick, and all these UAW and Delphi guys. We've had some tough luck lately, and we're just trying to finish this race. I mean, it's been terrible, but it's been a good weekend for us, and I think we're going to have a good shot. If Brian keeps making good calls like that, we're going to be in the front.
Maybe that is a sign that things are starting to change here for Joe Nemechek, Bill.
Well, I caught up with Ricky Rudd. What were you doing, hanging down at the car before you came back up here?
Well, just kind of discussing what's going on out there. We started getting beat pretty bad in the beginning of that race. And
I got to interrupt you. I got to talk. We've been eavesdropping, so we've been listening to you and McSwain talk it all over. What's it like out there with those guys that are shifting twice?
Well, right when we started the race, the racetrack was in real good condition, had a lot of grip, and it would favor a transmission where you shifted twice. When you come out of the corner and you really, it really accelerates hard, which means it puts a lot of abuse to the rear tires. That's good when the racetrack's clean. When it gets a little greased up a little bit, then they can't really use that advantage. They've got that gear, but they can't just stand in the gas and rock it away like they did a while ago. At least that's what I'm hoping. I noticed when the track started getting black again, getting the rubber in it, we're listening to the split times. The leader's advantage wasn't as big. So I guess the greasier it gets, the better it is for us.
You've been analyzing everything, though. I mean, talking about horsepower and gear ratios and everything in that race car.
Well, just give these guys a good heads up. Give them all the info they can. And obviously, a lot of it, we can't change transmissions in the middle of a race. But it could really help them on some decisions later on in the race. Just really kind of give them a heads up. Comes down to the end of the race, and we've got a 10-lap sprint race. Do whatever they can, maybe pump the tires up a little bit more to free the car up a little bit to try to compete with that other gearbox ratio them guys have got.
Yeah, with the car you had here in June, that you want to finish someplace different than you did then.
Well, we had a dominant car. We led the most laps. We had to start dead last because we had a motor change. So everybody on the Haviland team worked hard, got the motor changed, and had to start dead last. Came all the way up through the field and led the most laps, and we're leading with 6 laps to go. And DJ was following us. It looks like it was going to be a 1-2 Yates finish, and we had a flat tire and brushed the wall, and our day was over with. But same car, but that just goes to show you how technology can change from one race to the next. I really think the advantage is not going to be as big as it was a while ago if we get back racing. But I don't see us winning this race if it comes down to a 10-lap sprint race, just simply because they're going to out-gear ratio us.
Okay, we're talking racing today, but you've had a big smile on your face. I have a feeling you and I might be talking other things maybe next week in Indianapolis or something.
Well, I certainly hope so. I can't stand the stress much of this anymore. I like to sleep a few nights, but, we got a lot of things working, and hopefully by Indianapolis, if not right before Indy, then right after Indy, things should be laid to rest. And, a lot of it, again, has been out of my control. I don't have a lot of say-so what happens on the 2018, but I've got to get my ducks lined up in a row just in case this doesn't work out. So I think hopefully we'll have something to announce right around Indy time, maybe right after that.
Okay, well, best of luck here at Pocono, and best of luck in the future.
Thanks, Bill.
That's Ricky Rudd, started up front, hopes to finish up there. Alan?
Okay, Bill, Ricky running right now in 7th spot under the red flag, behind a couple of the guys who did not pit. And there's Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car, 24 laps down, back in 41st position. You know, on Friday, some of New York City's finest and bravest traveled south to North Carolina for a practice session with some of NASCAR's finest. These are members of the New York City Police and Fire Departments, who went to work with Walt Smith, the pit crew coach for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, in a training session with the number 8 pit crew. This is for an August 8th competition when the police and fire departments will go head-to-head in a pit crew challenge in New York City. And on his way up to Watkins Glen, Dale Jr. is going to host this special event in Macy's Herald Square. This guy's found out. There's Walt right there on the right, the pit crew meister. These guys found out that you got to be an athlete to go do this over the wall.
Not as easy as it looks like it's going to be. So now when's the other team going to get their chance to come down and practice?
That was both of them.
Oh, that was both teams.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And the real team for the 8 car, they were getting some words of praise from their driver a moment ago as we eavesdropped.
That was a great fix, guys. Great job. It only took 21 laps.
Well, that wasn't Dale Jr. who was talking, but you get the message nonetheless. They did a great job to fix the car. Dave, how about it? You're with Dale Jr.
Well, and he's going to have some praise for him too, Alan. But look at the yard sale we could have right now. We got a power steering pump, we got an alternator, oil filter, got a water pump off the motor, got the radiator here. And Junior, these guys changed all this stuff on your car in like 31 minutes. How good are they?
Oh, they're awesome. I don't know if any of that's for sale. Some of it's probably still good.
Well, if you sign it, it will be.
Yeah, it'll be on eBay in 6 hours. Yeah, it's a tough wreck, you know, and I'm, glad Steve's okay, and real tribute to my team. I mean, they're real gutsy bunch of guys, and we want to get back out there, for ourselves and for our fans, and whether we pick up another spot or not, we just don't try not to ever quit on ourselves. So it's it's a lot easier to go to work on Monday when you didn't give up. So
there's one piece missing here though. The guys told me it may end up on your wall. Did you take something away already?
Yeah, I already took the nose. I have a habit of taking all the tore up sheet metal and hanging it in my shop. So
why?
Well, it just it's good stories, conversation pieces. But the nose is pretty spectacular. So that's going up there definitely. But hopefully get back out there and. This rain will quit. I mean, we were pretty disappointed. We just got the car back out on pit road, so one personal victory out of the way. We're going to get this race in, and we'll finish it.
Okay, so you'll go back out, timing and scoring. Basically, you'll watch that and find out whether or not you're going to pick up everything and then park it later on. Is that the idea?
We're just going to try to run as fast as we can. Actually, the front end ain't bent. The clip of my car went underneath Steve's car and didn't really bend the steering, so, seriously, chances are the car's going to drive pretty decent. Just as long as, it's not too bad off really aero-wise and the motor's not tore up.
All right, we'll find out when he and everyone else has a chance to get back out there. Marty?
Well, Dave, here are the yard sale items from Rusty Wallace's car. Right front spindle. This is the lower A-arm and the spring bucket right there that they took off of the car from the wrecks. Unfortunately, Rusty's car did not get fixed. They have about 20 more minutes worth of work, and this is the frustrating part. They have another red flag here. You see Jeff Thousand and Mike Elliott, some of the crew members sitting there trying to figure out how they're going to fix it. They cannot touch the car under the red flag, so all they can do is talk about what they're going to do. They can work on pieces that they're going to put on the car. They've already done that. They have about 20 more minutes to fix the 2 car and get it back out on the track, but that's the frustrating part of having a red flag.
Making a good plan here under the red flag will help you fix it a little faster.
And Jeff Thousand, I mean, he loves to work. That's got to be the hardest working guy in the pit area. And he must be just
chomping at the bit.
Chomping at the bit, just sitting there doing nothing.
Bolt it up, see about where we're going to be. If it's way off, then.
But you're right, things will go faster now that they've been able to sit back and look at it, and they know exactly what piece they need and what's got to be changed, so things will go very quickly.
In a way, it eliminates the chaos of when that car comes back to the garage and everybody's trying to run around and assess the damage and figure out what the parts are. Now they've got a good plan, and they'll get it put back together, and it'll take them less time to do it than it might otherwise.
But there still is a lot of work to be done, as Marty said. It's not easy replacing those parts, and also trying probably to straighten the frame section out. I'm sure it's bent a little bit. They may not have to, it may not be bent badly enough. They have to straighten it out, get a machine out to straighten it.
It was starting to get kind of complicated here with all of our multis.
We were watching some of that onboard camera from Ryan Newman's car a little while ago, and Wally and Benny were kind of curious about shifting, not shifting. We got a headset on him. How you doing, Ryan?
How you guys doing?
Ryan, I was razzing you, man. That you had that thing twisted going into turn 1. Was that in 4th gear or was that in 3rd gear?
Well, seeing how both you and Benny are ex-race car drivers or current race car drivers, depending on your status. But you know, I can't tell secrets. You know, you're what? How many million viewers out here? And this is, you know, not even a third of the way through the race, and you guys are trying to figure out what we're doing.
I know you're twisting that engine, so it must be working for you. But, I mean, I remember the last time I ran here, we used to only shift one time, and I would see 9400 go into, like, turn 2. And that thing lasted. I don't know how it lasted. So, but that was in 3rd gear, not in 4th gear. So we must have missed something. If you're not going to tell us, then we're going to have to keep watching.
You just have to keep watching. The guys at the engine shop are doing a great job, and the guys here at the racetrack are doing a great job. We'll just see if the rain quits.
Ryan's trying to play international man of mystery on us.
Austin Powers.
Well, mate, we're going to go take a lap here, and you could probably listen. You may not want to listen to this, Ryan, but
it sounds pretty cool, don't it?
Yeah, it's humming. Here you are going down straightaway. And that hand never came off the steering wheel. But we cannot see the shifter.
What you can't see is there's a 4th pedal in there. It's connected to the transmission.
Okay. So we need a foot cam in your car.
And the tachometer is way off. Our tachometers are really way off.
Wow.
Sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
It sounds good. Now, isn't it true, though, when you have that kind of gear and you can run the engine like that, you don't have to use as much brake, which I think is a big advantage here at Pocono. Because doesn't the engine, the RPM, slow you down a little bit better, and you don't have to use as much brake pedal getting in the corners?
Yeah, you get a little bit of engine brake, but, I mean, it all depends on what you're going for.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Have fun, Ryan.
We'll try.
Hopefully we'll get this thing back underway shortly. He didn't want to answer your questions,
No, he wasn't,
Wally.
but I'll get to the bottom of it.
Look at him laughing, too. Uh-huh. We have the evidence, though.
There goes the in-car cameras in that car.
Yeah.
And there goes the one truck carrying Steve Park's car back to Mooresville, North Carolina.
But fortunately, Steve is okay after that vicious crash on lap 1. Webb, are you wet yet?
No, I'm actually pretty dry, and Ken Schrader is pretty dry too. Made the walk back to his hauler in the garage area, and you've got a commitment from a couple of guys, and you think Park and Earnhardt Jr. are trying to get out of it. What's up with that?
We're having a race at a racetrack at Peebly, Missouri, Wednesday night, sprints and late models, and it's to benefit Kyle and Patty Betty's Victory Junction Camp gang. And we've had it planned for a long time. It's Kyle and myself and Johnny Benson and Mike Wallace and Bill Elliott and Steve Park and Dale Jr. And I told Jr. if he just didn't want to come, then he could just say so. But that was a pretty big deal to try to get out of it. But luckily they're both okay, and they'll be there. I was just worried about them when it came around, and not because of Peebly.
Hey, Schrader, how about your buddy up in the booth?
Wally wants to know about your buddy up in the booth.
Oh yeah, I guess I need to talk to Alan.
Hey, for the people that aren't aware, tell everybody what you got going on. It is a charity race. It is for Victory Junction, and it's out at I-55.
Yeah, it's this Wednesday night at I-55, just south of St. Louis. We're running wing sprints and UMP late models, full-blown dirt late models. And then the Cup drivers are going to have an autograph session from 5 to 7 o'clock, and then we're going to do a 10-lap play race, match race with modifieds.
On dirt
around intermission time, and you know, it's just really good of the guys to commit to doing it for us, and you know, like I say, we're doing it because of Kyle and Patty Petty's.
Yeah, and that's your place out there?
That's at our place Wednesday. It'll be big.
There'll be a few fans there. How's your car here?
Car's pretty good. We struggled a little bit yesterday, and they made a bunch of changes, and I was stuck in the back. We did 2 tires, and we got a little bit of track position, and it doesn't feel bad, so I'm pretty optimistic about getting restarted.
Has Junior ever raced on dirt? Do you know, Ken?
Get back with me. He was there last year, and he stood up top, and he told when they asked him, he said he hadn't, but he could tell by watching him he'd be dang good at it.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Ken Schrader, the biggest promoter of I-55 Raceway that there is. That should be fun Wednesday night. It's raining here at the racetrack. Who will stop the rain? Pep Boys presents the Pennsylvania 500 NASCAR on TNT at Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, where they did a better job of putting that logo on that decal there than we did putting tires on the car.
This is true.
Yeah. Huge crowd here today. Unfortunately, they're all huddled under umbrellas because it's raining, and this race is under the red flag. Bill Elliott started on pole, and he led pretty pretty good chunk of the first 25 laps we ran. Let's hear from him now.
And Alan, he did look pretty good, taking the lead from Ricky Rudd. And Bill, how was your car? He obviously fell back a little bit after pit stop, so how was your car overall?
It's not bad. You know, Dodge is running pretty good, but I mean, we're only 30 laps in a 200-lap race, and, you know, depending on what the weather does, I'm sure it's changed. I hope we get it started back this afternoon, because I do feel like I can be better later this afternoon than probably tomorrow, but we'll see.
I heard you say on the radio you're a little bit free in the center now. There are 3 very distinct turns here, so is it free in the middle everywhere around, and did you get that corrected after the pit stop?
We pretty much got it corrected. We'll figure it out from there.
Okay, and you ready for Indy next week?
I think so. You know, we're deciding whether we're going to take this car or the other car we tested, and we learned something the other day. I think we ran about 170 laps one day and 120 something others, so surely I've learned something.
You're warmed up. All right, Bill, go ahead and get you some lunch now. He said he was hungry, so we'll send him on his way. And remember, here at Pocono, he's a 4-time winner. It's been really great here for Bill Elliott.
Elliott has had a ton of success here at this racetrack. His victories date back to 1985 when he won not once, but twice within a span of 6 weeks here. Took the June race, then came back, took the July race as well. That was in that magical season that he capped off by winning the $1 million. 1988, on his way to a Winston Cup championship, he won here at Pocono, did it again the following July. It's been a terrific racetrack for Bill Elliott over the years. Matter of fact, he had a good run here back in June also. He led 26 laps, but the engine gave out about 20 laps from the finish and took his result away.
It was only fitting he won twice here in 1985. After all, he won everywhere else.
Yeah. 11 races that year.
And the $1 million. Yeah. And did not win the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship.
Yep. Well, it's a shame for these fans because they've come from far and wide and they've been pouring in here since before dawn this morning. Right now, they've got nothing to do but have a hot dog and sit back and wait out the rain.
Sound like a wonderful idea to me.
You need a hot dog?
Okay.
We'll see if we can arrange that. While Marty talks to somebody, I'll see if I can get somebody to get one for you there, VP.
Well, Alan, today is July 28th, a very significant date in the Parker family. Sean Parker is the chief mechanic for Kurt Busch's team, and his wife, Tara, 1 year ago today, got a brand new heart. She had to have a heart transplant. And, Sean, let's talk about the 1 year anniversary. How is Tara these days, anyway?
She's doing good. She's home today. Well, I guess watching it rain right now, but she's doing good. She had her yearly exam the other day, and so far everything's been good from the results we've heard.
You can smile about it now. I know it was a very tough time here this time last year. Go through that weekend with us.
Well, you just never knew what day it was going to happen, and I got that call that Saturday morning, and Jack flew me back to Winston-Salem with it, 1 year ago today, and that was the day of the surgery, and so far everything's been going well.
And you're never out of the woods when you have a heart transplant, but the 1 year mark is significant.
Well, it's a lot farther along than you were, 6 months ago, but I don't think you're ever out of the woods when you're in a situation like that. But just keep taking one day at a time, and hopefully everything will keep getting better.
And I don't know if it was a present or what, but they have a brand new pool at their house. That's what they've been celebrating in. They've been swimming, and they've been having a good time. Tara Parker, very healthy these days. Bill?
Thanks, Marty. I'm here with Ward Burton, and we're standing in the rain. We have an umbrella, but Ward's an outdoorsman, and he won't let me use the umbrella. And I'm a guy not big on rain, but that's okay. I'll hang with you. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Yeah, what's up with your car?
We changed a lot of stuff from yesterday, Bill, and I think we headed in the right direction. I think we got something we could adjust on, but as much stuff as we changed, obviously didn't expect for it to be perfect, but I think we'll be in good shape this afternoon or tomorrow.
Okay, this afternoon. It's this afternoon. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, we definitely need to do it this afternoon. For sure. I tell you one thing, got to mention, glad that Steve, I know 3 people involved, but particularly Steve, glad he wasn't hurt over there.
Okay, walk me through last week, New Hampshire, your first win since the Daytona 500. How big was that?
That was really big for 2 reasons. One, the slump we had gotten in from Daytona to New Hampshire. 2, at a short track, a place that notoriously myself and the 22 team needed a lot of work at. And the Cat Dodge, man, it was hooked up from the time we got there. The last 3 chassis changes that Tommy and the guys made Saturday afternoon. On 48-lap tires, we got 3 laps, and it was the fastest 3 laps we'd run the whole day Saturday. So we knew then we had a good car for the long run.
Now, did you see Tommy Baldwin celebrating like a little kid out there on pit road?
That's his hometown, man. I tell you what, that'd be like us winning a Winston Cup race at Martinsville or Richmond, and I'm looking forward to that time.
Yeah, because that would be big because you're from Virginia.
Exactly. And last time, actually, that car was good enough to win the race at Richmond. Didn't get to capitalize on it, but to the present, I'm looking forward to racing today. Let's hope we can get this thing in.
Okay, your guys got the Golden Benny. Are you aware of that?
What?
Your team got the Golden Benny Award.
What is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
Never mind. Never mind. It's not going to be
anything.
It's not going to be that long of a rain delay. It is an award presented by Benny Parsons, and you know what the rules are? Whatever Benny darn well wants them to be. And last week it was because your guys had good work in the pits and good pit strategy and sent you to victory lane.
Oh, that's a nice award. I was just trying to figure what was golden about Benny. Now I know.
Oh, come on, Ward. Gee whiz.
Okay.
And Bill, that opens up a lot of lines, doesn't it?
Sure does, and we won't be using any of them. I'm getting rid of him, and you know something? Looks like it's clearing down here, so we didn't even need the umbrella anyway.
There you go. Glad you're not getting wet. Yeah, a little opening here in the overcast over turn 3, starting to creep across the racetrack. That's good news.
And the jet dryers are pulling on the racetrack to start their job of drying this 2.5 mile facility. Unfortunately, it is 2.5 miles.
And you know what else is good news, Benny?
Hot dogs.
Your hot dogs here.
Yes.
Hot dogs.
The food has arrived, and so we will take a break. Come back and see if we can catch Benny talking with his mouth full after this. We're live at Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania with NASCAR on TNT. The Pennsylvania 500 is under the red flag for rain. We only got 1 lap in when a big crash knocked down about 100 feet of guardrail inside turns 1 and 2. Savage accident. Steve Park, the principal driver involved, along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. They're both just fine. That took about 1 hour and 5 minutes to clean up. Race to lap 25, and then the rain came down. Now the rain has stopped, but we've got some track drying to do because a lot of water got dumped on this speedway. Marty, your turn.
Thank you, Alan, and Matt Kenseth here. And let's first of all start off talking about last week. And I know that had to be very frustrating to know you had the best car at the end of the race, to know you had a shot to win the race. You're leading, looks like checkered flags in sight, and then you feel a tire going down. What was going through your mind? You pound the dashboard or something?
Nah, I mean, it's never over till it's over. You know, it was really frustrating. We ended up losing the race, but it was real encouraging how good we ran. We've never ran that good at Loudon, and felt like we had a car to beat all day, so that was a good part about it. And there's going to be days when you have the best car and things don't go right, and you're going to lose the races, and there's going to be a lot more of them days, and there's going to be days when, you know, everything goes right and falls into place and you end up winning.
You got so mad you went out and won the late model race at Slinger Speedway Tuesday.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. Slinger Speedway is one of my home tracks, and I was running the Slinger Nationals up there every year, which is a big race. So we went up there and raced Tuesday night, and had a real good car and a real good engine, and ended up winning. So that was a lot of fun.
3 wins for you guys this season, Matt, but it has really slipped here in the last few weeks. Have you guys had a team meeting, anything like that, to talk about how you can turn the momentum around?
Not really. I feel like we're doing pretty much everything that's in our control. Last week was something totally beyond our control, and you know, felt like we're good enough to win. Just had a little pinhole in the right rear tire and got a flat. So that's kind of something that we can't control. And even some of the pieces and parts that broke, felt like there wasn't anything we could really do about it, and you know, gotten all the speedway accidents, so that's sometimes tough to avoid too. So we just have to try to keep our performance at the level it's been, and you know, hopefully we can get some more good finishes and get back in there.
Now, we were talking earlier in the show and talking about how good the car was in happy hour, and I heard you screaming tight, tight, tight on the radio. Is the car not that good today?
I think it'll be okay once we run some more. I was real tight in the beginning, but we're still kind of holding our own. So I think if we get it freed up a little bit, we worked on it quite a bit on that pit stop. I think it'll be better. And this is you know, one of them places where you get real tight in big groups of cars. I think once the cars get strung out and you can find a little clean arrow there to get the front end pin, you'll be able to get going and hopefully get back toward the front.
All right, you think we're going to get it in today? I think so.
I hope so.
All right, me too, Matt. All right, the Wisconsin boy won a race in Wisconsin earlier this week, Bill, and that was at Slinger Speedway. He beat some good competition, too. Schrader was one of them.
Okay, Marty, thanks a lot here with Johnny Benson. First of all, how do you feel?
I feel pretty good, actually. Just, you know, except for this dang rain, but outside day, it's been fine.
Yeah, ribs are good?
Ribs are good.
Yeah.
Not well done or nothing.
Very good. Comfortable in the car?
Yeah, not too bad. It's, you know, it's like last time. I mean, just a little tender, but not too bad. Like I say, it's in a different spot this time. It's up front rather than in the backside, so it doesn't really hurt as bad.
Okay, how is your car?
It started off okay, then it got really,
and they dropped
really
the green.
tight. Then they dropped the green. and the thing's really tight. So we've got a couple things we're going to try to do here. And matter of fact, we did some of it here just before the red came out. So we'll get it done, and hopefully it'll be okay. We'll just have to start the back.
And you're using telepathy to communicate with your crew, I understand.
Apparently they can hear me, and I can't hear him right now, so we're waving and tapping the roof and stuff like that. But we'll get that fixed too. Once we get going again here, I just got to swap out a radio, and I think we'll be okay. So I don't think that's going to be a big issue. But the thing is, getting the car a little bit better. I think I actually think we can get it better. We're going to keep the TV on us. We'll be changing some stuff when they come back.
We will do that. Best of luck to you. Welcome back.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Okay, that's Johnny Benson. Let's move down further in the garage area to Dave Burns, the weatherman.
Well, today I am, Bill. I play one on TV. Again, crews coming by, taking a look at the weather radar. The bad news is that there's still a whole lot of green around the Pocono International Raceway, if you can see the little arrow right there. The good news is that this all red blotches here, red and yellow, the bad stuff, has dissipated somewhat. And so there's kind of a window back here if we can just get to that point. But right now it's pretty much centered over us. There's also another high-tech sort of a tool that I'm using to watch the weather here, and it's called this, and there's some blue sky up there. So I don't know. It looks 50-50 right now, and we see the sun peeking through, and the radar's kind of bad. So take your pick.
Where's your popsicle stick, Dave?
Well, I was actually sending some friends out to get me some ice cream here, but I guess they didn't pull through.
You didn't have the friends you thought you had.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I think they're all up in the booth. What did I hear? Hot dogs, ice cream, burgers. You guys are living it up there. Yeah.
Oh, living it up.
I haven't seen any ice cream here, Dave.
Oh, well, if my friends ever get to me, I'll send them up to you.
Well, we won't wait on that then. All right. Under the red flag for the second time in the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono, but they're trying to get the track dry.
How about one of these hot dogs, VP?
The Pennsylvania 500 got underway 4 hours ago, and we've only run 27 laps. Make it 30 now with a couple more under the caution, but we're about to get it going again.
Okay, this time the Rodney Wise, the flagman, will give them the signal. Next time by, I'm going to throw the green flag, and you guys can get 4 wide. I don't care what they do down in turn 1. That's what Rodney says.
He's got a flag for everything.
He's got a flag for it all. That's right.
Let's see who comes in to top off the fuel on 1 to go. Robbie Gordon will duck in. Johnny Benson, Jeff Green, and Morgan Shepherd are the cars that darted to pit lane from the back of the pack. It's mentioned that Brett Bodine took his car when they rolled off from the red flag on pit road onto the racetrack. He never even went out onto the racetrack. He hung a left and went right into the garage. Word is they are changing the rear gear on his Ford.
See Robbie Gordon coming in for just a splash of fuel. Okay, that means that Robbie Gordon is going to try to make it on about 3 more stops.
I'm going to let you do that.
And all the rest of them have got to stop 4 times. That's what that was all about. If this thing should go green.
Okay. Joe Nemechek is the leader. Remember, he came down pit road just as the caution was coming out for rain. Beat the pit road closed flag in, so that got him track position and 4 fresh tires. Then you've got Sterling Marlin and Dave Blaney, 2nd and 3rd. They took just 2 tires on their stop to get some track position. Tony Stewart is 4th. Jeremy Mayfield is 5th. Then we've got Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, Ryan Newman, Jimmy Spencer, and Mark Martin who fill out the top 10. A little farther back, we've got Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Johnson, Ricky Craven, Jerry Nadeau, John Andretti. The way that weather radar looked earlier today, I would have never believed this. The sun is out. We're going to go racing again.
A beautiful day in the Pocono Mountains. Now then, when these guys all run in overdrive transmissions, you've got to give up something on the restart. You either got to start 1st gear, 2nd gear. Which one do they choose? Sterling Marlin right now, he desperately wants to get in front and get those 5 bonus points. He might choose 1st gear for this restart.
2 hours later, we're green once again at Pocono.
That's right, Benny, and you have a little bit of advantage not starting in the front because you can lay back a little bit and kind of anticipate it.
Here they go.
He's looking, but I don't think he's got enough steam.
Sterling Marlin on Dave Blaney for 2nd.
Blaney got a great run. He's trying to get by Sterling on the outside. Look at that 77 go.
That's right. Marlin was in front of Blaney. How did Blaney get to his outside on the front stretch?
maybe he started in first gear and Sterling started in second gear.
Sterling moved left to block.
All right, here we go. 3 wide down the backstretch. 12, 28, 9.
Who gives? Usually the guy on the outside.
Guy on the outside is going to give.
Here comes Jimmy Spencer, the bullseye. He is moving forward.
Now the problem is with Jimmy now, he's out of the draft. All those cars lined up on the right side of the racetrack, and he's stuck on the inside. That ain't going to get it done.
Now all the cars get back in line. First car trying to get on the inside, make it 2 wide is Jerry Ney doing 44.
That'll be the 14th place that he's trying to take from Ricky Craven. Here comes Tony Stewart. Got a run on Dave Blaney for 3rd.
Remember, Tony Stewart in the 20 car, those guys changed 4 tires. The other cars from the top 4 all changed 2.
Kind of a feeling out process is going on the track now. The rubber all washed off, the rain.
Yeah, everybody is trying to get a handle on what they're doing, and I don't think the crew chiefs are not asking the drivers quite yet how their car is. They'll wait for another 10 or 15 laps. The track has definitely changed a little bit. Every time you get rain, it washes off a little rubber, changes the track surface.
Approaching 200 mile an hour at the end of that front stretch. Here's Ryan Newman challenging Jeremy Mayfield for 5th place.
Jeremy Mayfield moves up the hill as Ryan Newman cannot get on the inside to take that preferred line on the bottom.
Newman kind of hit a Dodge sandwich there in between the Evernham cars, Mayfield and Bill Elliott, in the 19 and 9 respectively. Can he turn it under him? Not quite. Jimmy Johnson after Mark Martin for 10th. John Andretti next in the yellow hooded car, 43. Ricky Craven in the Tide Ride. Jerry Nadeau now in that 44.
And Bobby Hamilton in the 55 car. Hamilton has got a terrific run going today. As we see Ricky Rudd. Oh,
hang on, Ricky.
Whoa, was that close?
Glove saving a beauty.
Man, oh man. Bill Elliott, all to be going, that was close.
That was loose end.
And Rudd's heart's going boom, boom, boom. Here comes Dale Jarrett on Jimmy Spencer. And the big brown truck. Well, I thought he was through. You're not supposed to do that on the outside, Jimmy.
I tell you what, that outside groove down in turn 1 is just getting better and better.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, this is where right here, Jimmy's hanging really tough on the outside. Got a little bit loose getting off the 3 there.
Here comes Ryan Newman on Jeremy Mayfield. That'll be 5th place.
And Tony Stewart has closed up right on the back bumper of Sterling Marlin, and I know that Glover and Lee McCall and all those guys are saying, come on, Sterling, get those 5 bonus points before Tony Stewart gets by us. I'm not too sure he can do that.
Ricky Rudd hanging in there in 8th place, but boy, did he have a scare down in turn 1 just a second ago.
He definitely had his hands full. On board with him. Watch him go down the corner and listen.
That doesn't look like much, but believe me.
It was big. It was real big.
It was a moment.
Big moment.
Yeah. But Rudd's gathered it up, and he's closing back in on Mayfield for 7th place. And we look a little bit farther back.
And Sterling, he's there now.
On 2 tires.
And Nemechek has 2 tires. Tony Stewart, on the other hand, has 4. You would think. But again, Tony Stewart's in that aero push land, and that has affected his car dramatically.
And Marlin, if you're not familiar with the system that's used to determine the Winston Cup Championship, When you lead a lap during the race, you get 5 bonus points toward that championship. The driver who leads the most laps gets another 5 bonus points. So Marlon wants to get out front, get that lap-led bonus points knocked off and in the books for the day. Then he doesn't have to worry about it until we get closer to the end of the race.
I just used the phrase arrow push. And you see Tony Stewart moving high on the racetrack. That helps that arrow push problem. When you pull up right behind another car and you can't get all that air across your car and create the downforce that you need for the grip that you need on the racetrack, when you ride in that wake, we call that an aerodynamic push. You turn the steering wheel and the car wants to continue going straight because of aerodynamics. And you'll hear us use that phrase, and we see Sterling Marlin getting a run on Nadu. You'll hear us use that phrase many times before this day is over.
Nemechek, you big dummy.
Did I say Nadu?
Yes, you did.
Thank you very much, Wally. Straighten me out.
And I think also Sterling looked like he got Joe Nemechek a little bit loose. And when you're talking about arrow push, that was arrow loose right there. He pulled up right on the back of Joe's car and got the car loose. And that's perfect. That's a great place to do it over turn 2 if you can get it there.
And Sterling got those 5 points that Alan just told you about just a moment ago. Here goes Tony on the outside. Look out.
That 25 car was bouncing around down the bottom, wasn't he? Wow. Looking down on Pocono Raceway, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of one, a much nicer view than it was earlier in the day when the fog and the rain was here. 7th place.
Jeremy Mayfield lose positions by the 2s. Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett, both going by.
And remember, those 2 cars, the 28 and the 88, those were the 2 that settled the win among themselves back in June here, just 6 weeks ago.
Jay, what's going on with the 19 car?
Benny, I just checked with his crew chief, Ray Evernham. He's also the car owner. He told me that he was a little loose earlier, and now he's real loose. That was after the adjustment they made during the pit stop to tighten the car up. So I asked Ray if it was the track, and he said he didn't know, but now it's much looser than it was before.
And again, Mayfield losing 2 positions there a moment ago. He's back to 9th place now. He started in the number 4 spot. Rudd and Jarrett, the Yates teammates. For how long? At the end of this season, that's the big question. You heard Bill Weber talk with Ricky Rudd earlier. Ricky said he hoped to have something to announce and things straightened out, perhaps by the Brickyard 400 next week or shortly thereafter. Wow, Nemechek's car slid in.
Your Ricky Rudd shift when he goes down the front straightaway, going into overdrive. Hey, Matt, we've seen Joe Nemechek lose a couple of spots. What's going on with his car?
Well, Benny, he's got the 77 of Dave Blaney working him hard for that 3rd position. He came on the radio about a lap ago, and all he said to Brian Patty, his crew chief, car is loose off 3, tight in the tunnel.
And one of the difficult things about this racetrack, 3 different shaped corners. You can't fix one. You can't fix them all. You got to fix one.
Yeah. Everything is a compromise at this racetrack, and that's why that a driver is so important at this racetrack.
You see that 25 car bouncing all around there in turn 3, and Ryan Newman will prepare the assault for the 4th position. Sterling Marlin, the championship leader, out in front after 100 miles. Just past 100 miles complete as Pep Boys presents the Pennsylvania 500. TNT Sports live at Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Sterling Marlin is the leader after delays for red flags totaling 3 hours and 7 minutes. Put a very halting start to the beginning of this one.
And I tell you what, Sterling Marlin has a very good race car. He's about 3/10 faster than anyone else in the lead lap right now.
Marlin leading. Mark Martin is back in 12th place. Sterling's lead coming into the day on Mark was 55 points. As they run now, it's double that just about. How about that math?
Well, you worked on it for 5 minutes during a commercial.
Marlin up by an even 2 seconds on Tony Stewart, with Ryan Newman 3rd, having just overtaken Dave Blaney for that spot. Dave is back to 4th, and Bill Elliott still runs in 5th position. You know, early in the race, we rode on board with Ryan Newman in the 12, and were wildly fascinated by the RPM he was turning his engine, according to our onboard telemetry.
I'm certainly fascinated. So let's sneak a peek here and see if we're seeing the same deal. Oh, I saw a big number there for a second.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see. Ryan Newman, as he comes off the first corner, heading down the long pond straight. Holding it. And he's going to turn over 9,000 RPMs in this corner.
9,100 and change.
Could not get off that corner very well. Had to feather the throttle just a little bit. Now here's where we're going to see some RPMs if he doesn't shift. Now earlier in the race he did not shift into overdrive down this front straightaway, and we saw 94, 9,500 RPMs. Listen.
Man, I'll tell you, that sounds good, though. I don't care what.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it lasts, because that sounds good.
That front straightaway at Pocono so long, teams use transmissions like were developed for the road courses to put an overdrive in.
And see, if you can twist it that much, which he's doing, if you can twist it that much, then your RPMs don't drop when you don't have to downshift. So he's keeping up on the RPM range, and that's definitely an advantage.
Dave Blaney losing a couple of spots in that 77.
I guess that they feel like that Ryan Newman, has not had a lot of road racing in his career, so it would really mess his lap up, his timing up to try to shift a couple of laps. So what the heck? Just turn it a few more RPMs and don't worry about shifting, and he'll be much faster. And right now he's running in third spot, so I'm not going to argue with that strategy.
But he's got the big red Dodge closing in that rearview mirror. Bill Elliott has closed in on Newman the last couple of laps. Joe Nemechek, we watched his struggles out on the racetrack. Well, he's on pit road now, Matt.
An unscheduled stop for Joe Nemechek. He came on the radio half a lap ago and said, Brian, I believe I've got a tire going down. Remember, when they pitted before, they only took on 2 tires, so this will be a 4-tire change because they're not exactly sure which tire could be going down. A costly problem for Joe Nemechek.
And we saw Joe Nemechek smoke the tires trying to leave the pits. That's another problem with an overdrive transmission, is trying to get the car rolling out of the pits.
But you know, one of the things about this Pocono racetrack, at 55, 56 seconds a lap, you can make that green flag pit stop. He'll still be on the lead lap, barely.
Well, he better hurry. Sterling is coming hard. You're right, though. He's not going to probably lose a lap right here.
He'll stay on the lead lap, but he needs the race to run. He needs a caution is what he needs.
Well, he needs for Sterling Marlin and all these other cars to make their pit stops before the caution flag, before he has to stop again, and then the caution flag comes out, he'll be the leader. Or pretty close to the lead.
And that 40 car is on a rail.
Really good. Look at that.
See how smooth his hands were through there?
And he's leader by 4 3/4 seconds, and it wasn't but just a handful of laps ago that Allen said 2 seconds.
Yeah. Sterling has led 11, about to be 12 laps today. In his entire Winston Cup career here at Pocono, 34 races before today, he'd only led a total of 60 laps at this racetrack. Period. He's got it going his way right now. Marlin maximizing points today at Pocono.
The sun is out in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, as our coverage of the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys continues. Long rain delay, now a lot of racing ahead of us, and some interesting action at the front of the field. Sterling Marlin continues to lead. Let's take you deep into the field, beginning with Marty Snyder.
And Bill, that lead grows almost every lap for Sterling Marlin. Now it's up to over 7 seconds. He is the only one turning laps down the 51-10-second bracket. Last lap for Sterling Marlin, 56.172. Excellent run for these guys. He has said nothing on the radio. Tony Glover just keeps calling out the lap times. This car for Sterling has won twice this year at Las Vegas and Darlington, and only once had to finish out of the top 10. Dave?
Marty, Tony Stewart has also been very quiet on the radio. This is the same car that he used to his 3rd place finish at Chicagoland earlier this year, and he told his team it was either the best or the 2nd best car he's ever had at Joe Gibbs Racing. As for the 9 car of Bill Elliott, he right now is also all quiet on the radio. They fixed the loose through the center condition, And if he moves, now he moves into second place, so obviously they did fix that car, running much better for him. And if he can win today, he will take over the most wins for active drivers here at Pocono Raceway with a total of 5. Now in fourth place, the 12 car of Ryan Newman. He's just a little bit tight in that car. They'll try to make a change to fix that on his next stop. Ryan, who loves to go fishing everywhere he races, fished at Big Boulder Lake yesterday and pulled out a 4-pound bass. A pretty good take for this young rookie in the Winston Cup Series. Bill?
Well, Ricky Rudd started this race in second place, restarted it in 7th, and is currently running 5th. But he believes his car was better before the second long rain delay than it was before it. We'll have to see what happens. Marty?
Bill Del Jarrett restarted after the rain delay in 11th. He is up to the 6th position, doing very well. On the radio, he said nothing. Todd Parrott keeps telling him, you're doing good. The lap times look great. They've had 4 top 10s in their last 7 races. They might be on their way to another one. Weber?
Dave Blaney only took 2 tires during his last pit stop, restarted forward in the field, has slipped back a little bit. His car's a little bit tight, but the driver and the crew very confident. Some people want to say this is a single car team, but they've got Penske support. We'll see what happens. Dave Blaney trying to move forward in the field, Matt.
And Bill trying to reel in Dave Blaney is a 99 of Jeff Burton. He's still looking for his season's first victory. He started near the back. He qualified 33rd. He has climbed all the way up to 8th. All he said on the radio that his car was loose off the corners, so they made an air pressure adjustment. Meanwhile, John Andretti, the Andretti family, notoriously from Nazareth, they've got so much racing history, especially here at Pocono. He's never won here, although he claims he won a go-kart race when he was a kid. He qualified 5th. He was just passed by the 99 car 2 laps ago. He was a little bit loose in some areas, tight in others, so they adjusted with air pressure. Dave?
Matt, the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson needs to stop for fuel and adjustments in about 10 laps. He's a little bit loose off. Just think what this rookie has done this year with 2 wins and a 3rd place finish here at Pocono. He's very confident now with the support of his team and the way that they're working together. We'll see him win another race before this year is over. Alan?
Sterling Marlin continues to add to his lead. It's up to 7.8 seconds now over Bill Elliott as we continue to go through the field. Mark Martin runs in the 11th spot now. And let's check with Bill.
Well, Alan, he's chasing Marlin on the track and Marlin in the points. Mark Martin 2nd in points, 55 behind coming in here, lost 6 points to Sterling last week. Mark a little tight on the racetrack. He has never won here at Pocono. Marty?
Kurt Busch having a fine run out there, Bill. He's restarted 16th after the rain delay. He's moved his way up to 12th. The car is a little bit tight for Kurt. They're debating on an air pressure change or a wedge adjustment right now, which will be the better thing. These guys have 4 top 10s in the last 5 races and had the very impressive run in New Hampshire when they came from 3 laps down to finish in the top 10. Dave?
Marty, Ricky Craven runs in 13th. That damage from the lap 1 incident to his 32 car on the front end is not causing him any problems right now. Temperatures are fine. It's just a little bit tight going through the corners. Alan?
Change of position for 3rd. Ryan Newman moving up.
So Tony Stewart, they changed the 4 tires, but again, Zipadelli explained the strategy to see what their car was going to do so they would have some idea what kind of changes to make on the car as the pit stops ensue all day long.
Here come the 28 and the 88 to kind of join the fray for that spot as well. Let's keep going through the field. We left off with 13th place Ricky Craven. How about Jerry Nadeau? He runs in 14th, Marty.
Yeah, how about this run for Jerry Nadeau? Very impressive. He did have 1 race with his team earlier this year. Of course, at Sears Point, looked like they were going to win the thing. Had the transmission break at the end of the race, or the gear rather break at the end of the race. This is his first week in the car for the rest of the year. He will be in this car for Steve Grissom. The remainder of the year, the car a little bit tight right now, but overall very much happy with the race car. Matt Kenseth behind him on the racetrack in 15th. He told us he wasn't happy with his car during the rain delay. He said it's tight, but it's starting to get a little better for him. He has not had a top 10 in the last 4 races since he won at Michigan.
And Jeremy Mayfield, an unscheduled pit stop, I guess, Dave.
Actually, this is starting to fall in their pit window, Benny, but he was so loose that they needed to go 3 rounds down on the track bar to tighten that car up, as well as add fuel. It sounds like he shut the car off or stalled it. Now he refires it, and Jeremy Mayfield is off of pit road.
Yeah, it's been 35 laps since they pitted, so we are starting to trickle in. I figured we'd see everybody get up to around 40, but
And it sounds like he was out of fuel. I mean, Dave said the engine was off.
Yeah. So Mayfield rejoins. And looks like he has lost a lap in the process there.
Yes, he has. He will be a lap down if the caution flag should come out soon. But as soon as all these leaders make a pit stop, he should be okay.
Tony Stewart slipping back as Rudd and Jarrett continue their march forward. Puts Rudd up to 4th, Jarrett to 5th, and Tony back to 6th. Now, Tony is the 6th place car, and look at that last lap speed for Sterling Marlin we saw there. A 3 mile an hour difference just about.
You know what, that 20 car doesn't look like he's got any aero push problem. The way he drove underneath that car in front of him of Dale Jarrett. Yep, that thing was pinned right to the ground.
Now Rudd and Jarrett are up there pressuring Newman for the 3rd spot.
So once again, the Robert Yates cars, the 28 and 88, are very, very good this week, but they got to catch Sterling Marlin.
Yeah.
And they're going to need some help to do that.
Let's mention that Brett Bodine has come back out from behind the wall. He is 10 laps down, back in 40th place. Rusty Wallace has not returned to the race yet. Morgan Shepherd has gone to the garage.
And John Andretti just left pit road after making a scheduled, I guess, 4-tire stop.
Yep, going to start to see all the leaders come in here in these next few laps. Here comes Bill Elliott, 2nd place car, off the track onto pit road. Stop is as the leaders complete lap number 61. 55 miles an hour, the pit road speed limit for Elliott today. And he works his way down this long, long pit road to Dave Burns.
And Bill Elliott comes in now, the pole sitter, to get the adjustments on his car. Remember, he was reporting that they fixed the looseness in the center. It looks like if they make anything, that they're just going to make an air pressure adjustment. So for Bill right now, the case is just to get it full of fuel and get it back off of pit road. The 48 of Jimmy Johnson also on pit road. Remember, he was having a loose off condition. And right now, and they're going to go ahead and change 4 tires on that car, make an air pressure adjustment, and also make a wedge adjustment in the left rear. And he is now off of pit road as well.
I tell you, that Bill Elliott pit stop was terrific. I mean, that was in a 13-second bracket. They almost got my pocket with that stop.
Kyle Petty and Derek Cope are in. They had a little interesting exchange on the opening to pit road, but everybody got away okay. Now here comes Ryan Newman. He'll be followed down pit road by Mark Martin. That's Derek Cope's car that's leaving just in front of Newman.
And Jerry Nadeau slid all 4 tires trying to get down to the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit.
Go ahead, Dave.
Ryan Newman battling with Jimmy Johnson for Rookie of the Year honors. They will go to the right side. Remember, Ryan was just a tick tight. They're going to make an adjustment to the chassis in the left rear. Bill Weber.
Mark Martin on pit road. Remember, his car was tight. 4 tires, 2 rounds of bite out. All the fuel you can get. He's on his way.
Jeff Gordon is leaving his pit. Michael Waltrip is in. And here comes the leader. Sterling Marlin going to stop at lap 63. Mike Skinner and Mike Wallace have also come in for their pit stops. And let's cover the leader's visit to his crew with Marty.
What an impressive run for Sterling Marlin thus far, Alan. It will be 4 tires for Sterling, and they will make no adjustments on the car. Sterling did not say anything until his crew asked him how the car was, and these guys desperately need a good finish. They have only had 2 top 10s in their last 9 races. That's a good stop going for the Coors Light team thus far, and they dropped the jack, and he heads back out on the track. Dave.
Marty Tony Stewart's car is loose. They're going to make a wedge adjustment in the left rear. Jeff Patterson makes that adjustment. Now he puts in the 2nd can of fuel. They go to the left side of the car. They're going to give Tony 4 more tires and send him back out.
Dale Jarrett's been in. Matt Kenseth is in. Dave Blaney, Kevin Harvick, Ward Burton, Rusty Wallace just coming out of the garage to rejoin the race. Who else is here? Bobby Labonte, Jimmy Spencer. Did I mention Johnny Benson? Ricky Rudd is the new leader. And here he comes to pit road. He'll be followed in by Jeff Burton and Kurt Busch. And these stops will be at lap 64. Bill?
And Ricky Rudd, cautious of the traffic on pit road, simply wants to get more grip out of his race car. It's 4 tires and fuel, not expecting to see a chassis adjustment, so they'll try and improve the handling of the car with air pressure. Rudd gets the left sides on, fuel going in, not waiting for any more gas. He's getting back in the race.
Kurt Busch sits on pit road. We told you they were debating on the air pressure or the wedge adjustment. They went the air pressure route. He was a little bit tight, and that means that he took a pound out of the right front tire and a 4-tire stop for Kurt Busch. Hey, Burns.
And Ricky Craven burns out on pit road. His car was a little bit tight. They put on 4 tires, packed it full of fuel, and made a wedge adjustment in the right rear.
Elliott Sadler's now the leader all year long. The Wood brothers have gotten great fuel mileage, and they've run a few laps longer than about everybody. Let's see if he pits this time.
Nope.
That would be a no.
That is a no. This is one place you don't want to run out of fuel, though, BJ.
No. All right, so we'll see him in next time. Elliott Sadler, Terry Labonte, Jeffrey Bodine would be the first 3, and Casey Atwood. Now here come Terry Labonte, Casey Atwood, and Jeffrey Bodine in. So Sadler would be, looks like the last one to complete the cycle of stops here. You are looking at the race leader. 21 car of Sadler.
And Mike Skinner, the car directly in front of him, about to go a lap down because he has made a pit stop. A lap down to Elliott Sadler.
Which is going to peel off into the pits right now. Yep. So it really won't go a lap down.
Nope.
And you see Sadler fade from the rear view mirror. Brakes, 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 brakes. When you come off that corner running 140 miles an hour, and you got to stop down to 55. 4, 3, Matt?
1, right here, bud, right here.
And the 21 car of Elliott Sadler. A few laps ago, Elliott came on the radio and told his crew chief, Pat Trison, he wanted 1 pound in the left rear, 1 pound out of each right side tire. He said he was tight in the center and up off the corner. Work continues on Elliott Sadler's car, and now he's down and away.
Well, when I was running down the guys who needed a pit yet to complete the stops, I missed one.
One more. Robbie Gordon, we saw him make that pit stop for fuel only, so he could stretch his fuel mileage. Marty?
Yeah, and Benny, that worked for him. They are a little bit tight for Ken Schrader. They didn't make a chassis adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. Bigger problem for Schrader. He's got a little radio problem from his spotter to him. Cannot hear him all the way around the racetrack. It comes in and out. That's the biggest problem for Schrader right now.
Spotter's up on the roof in the rain. Might have gotten that radio a little wet. Never know.
And Robbie Gordon goes by, completes another lap. But that is a battle for the lead. Sterling Marlin has made his pit stop, has 4 tires, and is now about to take the lead away from Robbie Gordon.
So when Robbie does stop, he will be a lap down.
I would stop this time. If I just lost the lead, I'd give myself that full lap to make my pit stop and not get overtaken, right?
And most of the time, you're right, Alan, that's what happens.
Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, this is 5th place. And Dale Jarrett just in front of them in 4th. That was the first lap Robbie Gordon has led this whole season? Really? Wow. Oh, Stewart waddling up off the corner. But he's hanging in there. Locked in this tight fight for 4th place. Sterling Marlin has resumed the lead in the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono. The Silver Bullet leads the Pennsylvania 500. Championship leader Sterling Marlin out in front. We check our Coors pit summary and see that his crew held serve.
And Bill Elliott also, his crew had a terrific pit stop. Tony Stewart, his guys lost a couple of spots, but again, making those adjustments on those cars, having to make a chassis adjustment slows everything down.
Did he lose that in the pits, or did he lose that on the track?
One in
Tony Stewart.
One in the pits and one on the track, okay. I think. Just after he came up to speed, Ryan Newman got by him. Dale Jarrett's crew got him up to 3rd on that exchange of stops, so good for him and them. Speaking of Dale Jarrett, he is being pursued by Ryan Newman.
Well, I am impressed with that motor in that car.
We're really going to be impressed at 200 laps.
Yes. Yes, I am. You watch here. Gets out of 2, and normally he makes up a lot of ground in between 2 and 3.
Every other race team on the garage is going to be impressed when they go home and watch their tape back of the race like they all do and see what that telemetry showed. And the next technical innovation at Pocono will have been found.
See here we're riding on with Ryan and see how he's catching. He's catching the 88, and that's saying a lot, BP.
Yes, it is. Watch that 9,500 at 195 miles per hour.
Unbelievable. That's Kirk Shelmerdine getting put a 3rd lap down by the leaders. Let's mention that Brett Bodine has been in and out of the garage again. He's now 16 laps down in 39th place. And Rusty Wallace is back on the track, 61 laps down in 42nd.
I'm not so sure he doesn't get off the gas a little bit early there, just so he doesn't get that aero push, to get away from the 88 car to get some clean air on his nose. Because he makes it up coming through 3 and going down the straightaway.
If you can get that air on the car, on the nose of the car, it will help it turn. You'll get the air will push the car down and increase the grip, help the car turn a little bit.
And turn 2 is one of those places you do not want to get an aero push because there's not enough room to actually save it. You know, when that front of that car starts sliding out of 2, that wall is there in a hurry. It's not like you have all the space in turn 1.
And again, these 2 drivers racing for 3rd and 4th positions. So Elliott Sadler leading the race on the exchange of pit stops. Matt, something up there?
Well, Alan, under the red flag, once we went back to yellow, a team member failed to take a piece of tape off the overflow valve. Lenwood, you did not get all the fuel in it. How many gallons did you get in the 21 car?
We didn't give it 9 gallons in. We had taped the overflow up when it rained. They forgot to take it off. We still, as long as it goes green, we'll still be all right. We're still on pace to stop the same amount of time.
When will you have to hit pit road? Because obviously you're going to have to be hitting earlier now.
About another 10 laps, so for probably about 15 laps, we'll be at risk of getting a lap down. But if we make it past that, then we'll be back on schedule.
The race is taking a turn for the worse for Elliott Sadler. Now they're hoping for a caution so they can get back on sequence and not lose a lap when they have to pit early.
That's too bad.
Yep.
These cars, when you put fuel in them, the gas tank has air in it, and when the fuel goes in, it's displacing air, and all that air has to go someplace. So they use a 1-inch vent hose for that air to go out, and they put a piece of tape over it so the air wouldn't come out, and therefore the fuel could not go in.
Elliott Sadler right now lead lap 20th place, 30 seconds behind the leader, so he will get lapped when he does stop under the green. Jimmy Spencer, Berwick, Pennsylvania. Hometown native, losing 25th place here.
Jeffrey Bodine, the Discover car, goes easing by. All right, Jimmy Spencer, have a foot cam. We see that left foot poised on the brake. Also, we see over here, this brace is so in case the accelerator hangs, he can pop his foot back, he can pull it back with his foot. All right, Jimmy, you can relax. You got that long 4,400 foot straightaway before anything has to happen. Go ahead and shift using the clutch. Now, he's not going to use you see that little burp with the right foot. He did not use the clutch downshifting going in 1.
What do they call it? Matching revs?
Yeah.
A little burp on the accelerator.
Yep, you're matching the revs, and normally the gear will drop right down in the 3rd gear. Now he's giving a little bit of extra pump on the brake pedal here. You'll see him pump it a couple of times. That's just a safety pump. Sometimes you get the pads will be knocked back by the rotors when you're going down the straightaway. So you got to pump it to get the pads back to the rotors, so when you really hit the brake, they're there.
Different players, different styles. Let's check out the foot cam in Rusty Wallace's car. Repaired, back out on the track after that lap 1 crash he was involved in.
All right, you see Rusty, he's got his foot firmly on the floorboard. All right, going to back off. All the way off the gas, on the brakes. All right. Back on, man, he's weighted right in that throttle. Okay. All right, now on the front stretch, he's going to have to shift.
Now watch. Well, here's another guy that's not shifting, but he's Ryan Newman's teammate. So.
Ryan Newman's teammate.
With that right front fender missing, is he up to speed enough where shifting would even be a...
Yeah, he had that thing wound up too, by the sounds of it. Well, let's watch here, see what happens. Well,
he's going to move over and let
move over, yeah.
And Burns, what about the 2 car?
Well, Benny, I just checked with Billy Wilbur and his crew chief, and of course they're just out there trying to make up laps in case they can get more laps in the book than one of the other guys that has problems today. Billy said that Rusty hasn't said anything about the car and that they are definitely staying up above the minimum required speed.
But again, Rusty back in 42nd place. He needs some people to drop out of this race to gain some positions and have all that effort the team made repairing that car pay off. Sterling Marlin still leading Bill Elliott. The advantage is 2.7 seconds. Elliott has closed in by about 2/3 of a second, but it is still the championship leader Marlin who's in command here at Pocono.
45-year-old Sterling Marlin leading the points and leading the Pennsylvania 500 here at Pocono. Last season, an extremely strong second half, including 2 wins. Right now, the point leader. But when you're in front, you know everybody's chasing you. So what's the most difficult part about staying ahead of them?
I mean, really, it's just a position right now. You know, we're just, you come in, week out, we're going to come here and try to win the race. And if you can't win, we're going to try to run the top 5. If you can't do that, try to pull you out of the top 10. So, you know, until we get down toward the end of the year with a couple races left and see what we got. But right now, it's just position. And we're glad to have it. And got a good race team put together, the Coors Light team. And, we're just, playing it race by race and trying to win.
Sterling Marlin has a lot of confidence in Lee McCall and Tony Glover. He knows a lot of guys are talking about overhauling him in the points. So Sterling made it very clear early in this weekend he doesn't want to talk very much about being the point leader. He wants to talk about running well in races and winning them and hoping, as the cliche goes, the points will come. But guys, I know as you went through the garage here this weekend, you could feel it, that people think they can reel Sterling in. Any one of the top 5 guys in points could leave here as the point leader when this thing's finally over.
I'll tell you one thing, Bill, they better start reeling if they expect to catch him.
And Sterling's not one of those guys that you can really play too many head games with. I mean, he is the most steady guy out there. He just goes out and he does his job, and he gets what the car will give him, and he's about the calmest guy I've seen in the garage area.
Nothing seems to bother Sterling Marlin. Right now, the 30 car, Jeff Green, AOL car, going a lap down. So obviously the changes they made on that car did not work as well as they hoped.
So I think the reason people feel like Sterling Marlin is vulnerable is because they aren't running, at least until today, like they had been in the early part of the season when they picked up a couple of wins. I mean, in his last 5 races, he's got only 1 top 10 finish. In his last, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 races, he's got only 2 top 10 finishes. So they've been showing vulnerability. I mean, it's not like he's fallen out of races except for the one at Sears Point, but, finishing 14th, 16th, that's not looking like the guy who's going to go on and roll to the championship either.
And he's been a little bit lucky. Last week, as you said, at Loud, New Hampshire, he finished 14th. His closest competitor finished 16th. The next guy finished 15th. He finished 14th and beats both of them.
You're watching live the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys on TNT from the Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. TNT's coverage coming to you later than it was supposed to be. We've had a long day so far, and most of it was with the cars sitting still under the red flag. A horrific crash on lap 1 between Steve Park, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Rusty Wallace put the race under the red flag for 1 hour and 5 minutes. All the drivers okay, but they had to spend some time repairing the guardrail. As you see Elliott Sadler coming in on pit road. We'll check on that here with Matt.
The 21 is in. Remember, Len Wood, the co-owner of this team, so they only got 9 gallons in on their last stop. So now they're off sequence, 4 tires, and fuel. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. Elliott said his car was loose off. It was really loose when he was back in the gas.
So Elliott Sadler, as he tried to leave the pits, revving that engine, slipping the clutch, trying to get the car rolling so he wouldn't kill the engine.
And so, like we said, he needs the race to stay green until all the other leaders come in now, or he's going to get caught a lap down. So Sadler back in the hunt, but he's a lap behind leader Sterling Marlin. We are approaching the midway point of today's Pennsylvania 500. The giant 2.5-mile Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, where the Pennsylvania 500 is ongoing, nearing its halfway point. After lengthy delays, couple hours for rain and an hour for a guardrail repair. This is the first race in the Pep Boys When Your Car Wins, You Win sweepstakes, starting with this race and concluding with the Chevy Monte Carlo 400 in Richmond, September 7th. Stop by any Pep Boys and pick up a sweepstakes game piece. Scratch off where it says car number and prize. And if your car wins any Winston Cup race between today and September 7th, you win the corresponding prize. All prize winners who mail in their game piece will be eligible for the grand prize, a trip to 3 Winston Cup races in 2003.
Very nice. You do that so well.
Don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional.
And Sterling Marlin continues to do what he's doing so well.
He's a trained professional, too.
Yes, he is.
Out in front by 3.8 seconds over Bill Elliott is Sterling Marlin, but the man really on the move, who's caught our attention,
that man,
Jeff Burton. He was 16th when the race went back to green after the delay. Now he is up in 4th spot, scoring serial on Jeff. It's been a good day for him so far. And Matt Yoakum's about to give his crew chief some TV time. Matt?
And Jeff Burton qualified 33rd. Your man has climbed all the way up easily inside the top 5 and chasing down the leaders. That car has really come to life, Jeff.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's done a great job. You know, I don't know if it could have been that good, but the rain delay, Jeff was up in the truck, and he's got an appearance tomorrow, and we want to make sure we please all those Citgo fans to make it to the appearance. So I told him the faster he gets this race over with, the quicker we'll be home. Now I guess he's doing it.
That car has really come to life for Jeff, and he's certainly motoring his way, trying to score his first ever win here at Pocono. Best finish, 1997, the June race, 2nd.
Well, last lap by, Matt, as he was doing that, he passed the start-finish line. He was the fastest car. Faster than the leader, faster than Bill Elliott, faster than Dale Jarrett.
All right, let's check speeds at the line. We've talked about Sterling Marlin and Jeff Burton and relative speeds. Let's check them out. It's going to take a while for some of these other guys to get here. Sterling's got such a big lead.
We see that Sterling is still a little bit faster than Bill Elliott. Here comes Jarrett.
Hey,
see?
How about that?
Could Burton go? But you know, as this thing continues on, there's a couple other cars that are pretty good. Deep in the field, Kurt Busch, Terry Labonte.
In fact, all the Roush cars are creeping toward the front. Mark Martin is the farthest back of the Roush machines, and he's in 12th place.
Matt Kenseth is another Roush car that's been running very well the last few laps.
Yeah, he's in 11th. Check out this record for Jeff Burton here at Pocono. In the last 11 Pocono races, 8 top 10 finishes, but 3 36th place finishes. So it's like he runs great, or something bad, really bad happens.
It's either feast or famine, as they say. Does very well or very poor.
Who's they?
Well, that's what's said about me.
Oh, okay. Sterling Marlin leads. We're coming up on another round of green flag pit stops, so let's take a break. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Sterling Marlin is the leader as we come up on halfway in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. We've started to see the beginning of green flag pit stops. Jeremy Mayfield has been in. Jimmy Johnson and Hut Strickland also have been in under green, so we expect most of the other leaders in another 5 or 4 laps, somewhere in there.
And right behind that Lowe's car, there you see him, is Jeff Burton. He has moved that Citgo car up to 3rd spot.
Displacing Dale Jarrett. But he's 9.9 seconds behind Sterling Marlin.
Hey, but he's got 250 miles to catch him.
Yep. And his pit crew gets a chance to
try to make up some time. Yes.
Yeah, shine a little bit here because he'll be on pit road coming shortly. Kyle Petty's been in for his green flag stop. He's back on track. As you see, 30 car there, Jeff Green. He is a lap down in 29th place. Jimmy Johnson's in 30th. They're racing for that spot just ahead of Burton. And he's saying, hey, I'm in a hurry.
Yeah, Jeff would like to get by. He's actually lost a little bit of time on second place car, Bill Elliott, on that lap.
I mentioned Jimmy Johnson was on pit road a minute ago. Dave?
They took on 4 tires, and Jimmy Johnson's car was very, very loose, Alan, so they also made a wedge adjustment and a track bar adjustment to try to fix his Chevrolet.
Johnny Benson, John Andretti, Derek Cope making green flag stops while we follow the second and third place cars in traffic.
And Jarrett in the UPS car has pulled up behind Burton and on his rear bumper in this traffic situation, but Burton passed him and looked to be pulling away from Jarrett.
Yeah, that last lap there for Jeff Burton was almost about a half a second, a little bit more than a half a second slower than what he had been running before he caught the traffic.
Second place cars on pit road. It's Bill Elliott headed for Dave Burns.
He gives up second place, Alan, and his car was giving him little fits. He couldn't tell if it was tight in the center or loose in the center on different occasions. And so his crew chief Mike Ford said, is there too much air in all the tires, Bill? And Bill said, yeah, I think that's a problem. So they're going to take air out of all the tires, make a wedge adjustment on the left side, give him some more grip, change 4 tires, and again, pack that fuel cell tight. 12 cars also in. Ryan Newman, they will make a wedge adjustment or a chassis adjustment on the right side. He is still tight in his race car. They also will change 4 tires and fill it full of fuel. So they were tight before. They're still tight now. They're trying to fix that. Bill.
Mark Martin not very happy right now. He's got 4 tires, got a wedge adjustment. He's on his way. Quick stop. Got a lot of fuel in that car. Michael Waltrip also on pit road. Let's go to Marty.
Sterling Marlin comes down pit road, the race leader and the dominant car thus far, Bill, as day becomes evening here at Pocono. Be smart and be smooth. The only words Tony Glover told him that entire run. These pit boxes at Pocono are very big. Sterling fits in very easily. He almost said something funny. He said, the car's not bad in clean air, Matt.
Jeff Burton is already in. No chassis adjustment for the second straight stop for Jeff Burton. He climbed all the way up to third. They're packing that fuel cell full of fuel, and he is good to go.
And there's the gap between the two as they head back out onto the track.
The Jackman on the 40 car had a little bit of a boo-boo. He started to let it down, and it didn't go down. It was a hiccup, and it cost him a couple of seconds.
And the stop penny, 15.8 for Sterling Marlin, not as good as they would have liked. And when he left pit road, you guys talked about the gears in these cars. He almost stalled it. He had to catch it, nearly went dead. That would have been very bad for Sterling Marlin.
Here comes Dale Jarrett. Coming in, he was the leader after the other cars in front of him pitted. We'll go back to Marty.
And Dale Jarrett continues to run well at Pocono. There's something new. He has had 12 top 5s, not top 10s, top 5s in his last 14 races here. Slides to a stop in that pit stall. It'll be 4 tires. They do decide to make a wedge adjustment. He's not bad. He says it's a little tight in the tunnel turn, Bill.
Ricky Rudd continues to slide the car in all 3 turns of the racetrack, so they make a chassis adjustment, give him 4 tires. Dave.
4 tires on the 20 car, wedge and track bar adjustment. The car was a little bit tight for Tony. They try to fix that by going up and down on air pressure on either side of the 20 car.
And Stewart rejoins. Kurt Busch is the leader. Has not yet pitted. And it looks like Jimmy Spencer's going to be coming back to pit road.
For what?
Drive-through penalty.
Oh, he wasn't speeding, was he not? Our boy Jimmy.
Here comes Matt Kenseth, one of those who had yet to stop. Kurt Busch and Dave Blaney are the top 2, not yet having visited pit road. And we'll cover the Matt Kenseth stop. Marty?
And file this away for later, guys. These Roush cars doing excellent on fuel mileage today. Matt Kenseth a little bit tight. They add a pound to the right rear tire. They also make a chassis adjustment. Matt wants some water. It is humid out here today. He's feeling a little hot inside the car. He gets that water through the window now. Dave?
Ricky Craven in his bicentennial Winston Cup start will change 4 tires, make a track bar. No, making a wedge adjustment on the right side. Fill it full of fuel. His car was coming to him, then it went back to tight again. That's the problem they've been fighting all day long.
Bobby Labonte leaving pit road, as does Ricky Craven, and still waiting on Kurt Busch to come in. And here he is now. Stop coming as the race is at its halfway point. This is now an official race. Well, it doesn't look like the weather's going to threaten again anywhere later in the day. Marty?
Kurt is here, Alan, coming down pit road, and they came to lap 100. They wanted to go, or thought they could go, to lap 102. That could be big later in this race. It'll be a 4-tire stop for Kurt. He's a little bit tight. They make an air pressure and a track bar adjustment right there. You saw the track bar adjustment going in. His worst finish of the season came here in June when he finished 40th. They want to avenge that today.
Dave Blaney now the leader. Not yet having pitted. Then it'll cycle back around to Sterling Marlin once Blaney stops. Guess what, Benny? Jimmy Spencer just made his drive-through penalty.
And not too fast.
He's got to come back in. And the second tier on that penalty is a stop and go. Not good for the hometown boy. Here's the leader in. Dave Blaney headed for Bill Weber.
And Ryan Pemberton counts him down to his pit stall. This will be 4 tires and fuel. Now this team gets Penske engines just like the 12 and the 2. Blaney is shifting in this car. They make a chassis adjustment with some wedge, come around to the left side, try and bolt on those left side tires. Blaney continuing the road well, chasing the leaders on his way.
Good stop. Left rear just a little bit slow.
It looked like they had trouble pulling the right rear tire off the car.
Which got the rear man off a little bit slower.
Tire carrier was waiting to put the new one in. The jack man reached over to pull the old one out, and he looked like he just couldn't quite get a grip on it. Oh, check this out. This is for position. 7th place.
And that's pretty close.
Kurt Busch in the 97 is going to get that spot. Brian Newman and Tony Stewart have been together on the racetrack all day.
Now, it looks like Tony's car works really good right after the pit stop, but then it fades away after about 7 or 8 laps.
So let's reset the front of the field after the exchange of pit stops. Sterling Marlin, his crew held serve on the lead. He's up with Bill Elliott 2nd. Dale Jarrett gets 3rd spot back. Jeff Burton falling to 4th. And it'll be Ricky Rudd off the pit stops in 5th. Speeding penalty phase 2.
And when that happens, you are so mad as a driver.
Okay,
not only because you did it once, but then you come back again.
Yeah, but you're not mad at yourself.
Yeah, you are. Why wouldn't you be?
Mad at the guys in the tower. I wasn't speeding. I didn't do that.
The first time. But the second time, you got to be mad at yourself.
Okay. It has been a silver day. I think I said at the top of the show that it could be a red color day. It's been a silver color day so far. Oh, that's not good.
No. Mike Skinner's engine is not running, and he's very slow in the tunnel corner. I don't know that he can coast back. He is on the access road, not on the racetrack.
Haven't seen the caution since the rain at lap 25. We're at lap 104 now.
Now there is a shortcut back to the garage area. I don't think Mike will take that. Yoakum, what happened to Skinner's car?
Benny, for the 2nd straight week, Mike Skinner has been bitten by the bad luck bug. He is out of gas.
Oh, no.
Now, like I said earlier, this is a place you don't run out of gas because you can't coast it back. Unless you run out of gas between turn 2 and 3, you're not going to make it.
Skinner last stopped at lap 62. We were at 104. He's run out, and he has brought out the caution flag.
And Elliott Sadler catches a break. All the other cars make their pit stop. He's now back in the lead lap.
Great break for him. 3rd caution of the race.
All right.
Now, yeah, you're thinking the same thing I am.
All right, business is going to pick up because all of a sudden we're going to get those fast cars together again. I mean, Kurt Busch, Jeff Burton, they're going to be right on the back bumper of Bill Elliott and Sterling Marlin and see if they can do anything with them.
Well, actually, you're thinking a different thing than I am because I'm thinking we've got 95 laps to go. Stop here, top off the fuel.
Make it on one more stop.
On one more stop. But because most of these guys just pitted under green, do you give up the track position or not?
Yes, you have to. Well, but some guys don't. The Roush cars don't. They probably will stay out.
Oh, what's that?
You got left rear flat, 55 car.
Oh, what this caution flag was a huge break for Bobby Hamilton.
So third caution of the Pennsylvania 500. First one was at lap number 1 for the big crash between Dale Earnhardt Jr., Steve Park, and Rusty Wallace. The second one was for rain at lap 25. Then we ran green from the restart all the way through lap 106 caution for Mike Skinner, stopping in turn 3.
I think the pit road was closed, but Bobby Hamilton had no choice. He did not need to ride 2.5 miles on a flat tire.
And the penalty for that is he'll go to the end of the longest line on the restart.
Which is not too bad.
And the penalty for going around another lap is the tire will probably come apart and tear that car all up, especially the fenders.
All right, strategy time. Who's coming in and what do they do?
Well, looks like no one.
Some of the guys towards the back got to come in.
Man, that is amazing.
Mark
Martin's coming in.
11th place will be the first one to break off. Bill?
And Mark Martin will come down pit road. This is a huge break for him. They are going to have to change the battery in his Ford. Electrical problems, they're going to come to the left side. They will take off the left rear tire. There's a panel down there with a quick release. They have to unscrew the panel, reach in, get the battery out. Hopefully the quick release will work quickly. They'll put a new battery in, put a tire back on, then send him back out. This will be the only change they'll make on this stop. You can see the battery is out. Now they'll try and shove the new battery in. This is all going on under caution while other guys are getting fuel and tires. They quickly connect that battery back in, shove it back into its slot. They'll tighten that little door that keeps it in place, put the left rear tire on, then send Mark back out. Caution laps here are very long, so they've got plenty of time to get this done. Under caution in the Pennsylvania 500, point leader Sterling Marlin, the race leader, after 106 laps.
Pocono Raceway, Long Pond, Pennsylvania, where the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys is under caution. Third yellow of the day, just past halfway. Saw Mark Martin on pit road a minute ago getting the battery changed on that car. For a closer look, let's go to our Team Caliber 360 racer and BP.
Okay, folks, the battery sits right in front of the left rear tire. Here's the battery. There's a panel in front of the tire. They pop that off, take the battery out, slip the new one in. Just takes a few seconds to change something like a battery. In our car, it probably takes an hour. In a race car, a few seconds. Alan?
No, it doesn't take an hour, Benny. What kind of car do you have?
He's thinking about his 48 Mercury.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
His collector car that he keeps. Well, Sterling Marlin leads. Mark Martin after the battery change. Where is he? I'm still trying to find him on the score. He's back in 26th place. That'd give Sterling about 100 extra points on the day than he started with. His lead was 55 coming into the race.
That's currently, of course.
Yeah, got a long way to go. Well, you and I were talking during the commercial break, Wally, about why more of the leaders didn't come. Not coming in to top off the fuel tells us that they can't make it 95 laps on one more stop anyway.
That's right. So why lose that track position?
Those who did come in would include Martin, Jimmy Johnson. These are lead lap cars. Robbie Gordon, Ricky Craven, Jerry Nadeau, Elliott Sadler. You got Jeff Green, Joe Nemechek, Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader, and Bobby Hamilton all came in.
And Ricky Craven is going back down pit road right now, I'm sure, to top off to ensure he can make this on one more stop.
Dave?
And they've actually, this is the third time they've been in during this pit stop, Benny. They put tape on the front, but the real problem they had was the vent tube on the back of the car. And you talked about it earlier for someone else. The vent tube actually fell into the trunk, so they couldn't vent the fuel and fill it full. So they fixed that, they pulled it back out, and now they topped him off and put him out there a little bit longer than everybody else on fuel.
That looks like it's bent too good, BP.
Yeah, the flapper valve inside the vent tube seems to be open, and when he takes off, a lot of fuel is coming out that vent. So that also hurts his mileage when you lose a gallon before you get started.
That's the fuel he wished he had in the final lap of this race. Set to go back under green, got 28 cars on the lead lap. Sterling Marlin has led 62 of the 108 laps that have run so far. Bill Elliott is second. Dale Jarrett third. Jeff Burton fourth. Ricky Rudd fifth. And Kurt Busch, Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, and John Andretti. Bill?
Battery change on the 6 is complete. He's second in points. Ben Leslie said the voltmeter was low. They had to make the change. Hopefully it'll pay off for them. Ready to go green.
He's 25th in line for the restart.
Green flag.
love that shot at Pocono going down in turn one. He's for about, it seems like for 8 or 10 seconds, you see all those guys jockeying for position.
Mike Wallace. Ride him, Cowboy.
Got a good run going through turn one there.
Mike is lapped down in 32nd place in the 14 car. Here's Kurt Busch on Ricky Rudd for 5th place.
Oh, Mike. Oh, and the 17 car. Kenseth almost getting the wall. Coming off turn 3.
Matt's running in 9th place. Ryan Newman under Ricky Rudd. At 6th place, changing hands.
There's where those RPMs help. Pull you off that bottom of turn one. Uh-oh.
John.
John Andretti.
I wonder if this is a flat tire or something that's happened to the engine.
If it weren't for bad luck this season, they would have no luck at all.
Right out of luck. All right, here comes Bill Elliott. Right up on the back bumper. Can he do anything with Sterling Marlin?
Be a long time
He's
since
gonna
anyone
try.
has.
He's going to try.
Glover said, no problem. He's not going to pass you.
Dave Burns.
And Alan, Bill Elliott spotter's been telling him, hey, you're better than he is. Go get him.
And it looks like it. Elliott's car looks a little bit better right now.
Last time by, he was a 10th of a second faster than Sterling Marlin.
4-time winner here at Pocono is Bill Elliott. He hasn't led since lap 25.
Now, I think as good as Sterling Marlin's car is, Bill Elliott's going to have to get up on the rear bumper of that car and maybe get a little bit of aero loose on that 44's car, because right now he's got to get closer than that.
Yeah, you can see it's 3/10 of a second back. He's going to have to get up right on that back bumper, like Wally said. A 10th of a second back.
His only shot to get it.
Dale Jarrett, Jeff Burton trying to hang in there. Let's look a little farther back. There's Ricky Rudd now under pressure from Matt Kenseth in the 17. And old Big Orange, Tony Stewart.
I saw a puff of smoke out of Mike Wallace's 14 car.
Wait, Ricky Rudd got loose again there. Same place he did earlier.
And Kenseth trying to make Ricky Rudd pay for getting loose. Takes the spot away. And Kevin Harvick, that 29 car, coming into the mix.
Yeah, he's creeping in there. He's into 10th place. 23 of Hut Strickland, 1 lap down, 32nd place. He's in between 9th and 10th place cars. Bill Michael Waltrip made a couple of stops on pit road under that last caution. One of them pretty lengthy. What's going on there?
Not feeling well at all, Alan. Michael said he's feeling very, very sick. They gave him some towels and some fluids, brought him in twice just to give him a little bit of a rest and some more fluids, but Michael says he does not feel very well at all. They are tentatively looking around for somebody to put in that car. Michael's is a tough seat to get into just because of his size, but does not feel well at all.
Yeah, you gotta have a tall driver to get in that car.
He said that he smelled smoke and saw some smoke in the car earlier in the race, didn't know where it was coming from, but that's what's contributed to the fact that he doesn't feel very well right now.
Well, his 2 teammates were involved in a crash at lap 1. Dale Earnhardt Jr., though, is back in the race. Steve Park, I would assume, with the rain delay, is long since gone from the property. And probably doesn't want to get back in a race car today anyway.
I was going to say, he's probably watching us on TV from home.
Yeah.
That would be a great story if Steve Park did get in that 15 car, but I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. 3rd place, tighten it up. Jeff Burton is starting to put some pressure on Dale Jarrett.
I tell you, it's great to see these guys running this high line down in turn 1. Burton uses that high line to go by Dale Jarrett, take that 3rd spot away.
Yeah, BP, if you can run that high line and get away with it like Jeff, actually you have more momentum getting off of turn 1. because you don't bind the car down so much.
Best finish of the season for Jeff Burton so far, a pair of third-place runs at Dover and Richmond. Last time he visited Victory Lane was Phoenix last October. Right now, Burton running in third position. They are about a second and a half behind the top two. Sterling Marlin and Bill Elliott are leading the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono. I believe so. Went back, that last top off there was with 95 laps to go, and only a few guys came in. I'll tell you, Mark Martin might be in good shape if that electrical system holds up for him, because he came in and got the top off there.
That's right. He can make it the rest of the way, and I believe that probably Kurt Busch can as well.
They can make it the rest of the way on one more stop.
Yeah. And these guys, I think, Sterling Marlin, Bill Elliott, will have to stop twice.
Look at that. 17 of the last 22 races. The driver leading the most lap has finished a win the last 2 seasons.
Sterling, if I were you, I'd back up and let Bill lead a while.
Yeah, we better do it quick. There aren't enough laps left for Bill to have led the most.
That's true.
Sterling's been out in front 73 laps today. Elliott 16.
Ricky Rudd loses another spot. That's 9th as Kevin Harvick goes by him.
The infamous tunnel turn.
You know, and Ricky Rudd, the 28 driver, told his crew chief, Michael McSwain, earlier in the day that he just didn't feel like his car was good enough to beat these guys. And now, as it's getting later, overcast and cooler, all these cars are going to really have an advantage on Ricky Rudd.
Well, here's one thing real interesting. Right here, he's about 400 RPMs lower than Ryan Newman's car when he comes off of turn 3. So that makes a big difference on your straightaway speed. So he's not getting off the corner, I don't think, as good as Ryan Newman, because he's that far down on RPMs, or that much further down than some of the guys that aren't shifting. What did we see high there? Were you paying attention?
8,800.
8,800
is the maximum we saw.
If we can watch Ryan come out of turn 3, right about where Ricky was at 64 or 6,500. Let's watch right here. As he exits turn 3, right when he gets this thing about straight for a second or two, right about here. See, 7,400 RPMs.
What's this saying? He does not shift. 9,000, 91, 92, 3, 4. Oh, baby.
Screaming.
Screaming that engine is right.
Just past 300 miles, but it's got to live for another 200.
Or dark, whichever comes first.
Goes into turn 2, the tunnel turn. 9,000 and change.
You know, that's another whole point of strategy discussion there. Are we going to get the full distance in before dark?
And Alan, that's something that's figured in up and down pit road. Also, it is clouded over. Guys are also checking the radar. So you have to decide what race you're running. If it's the Pennsylvania 500 or maybe the Pennsylvania 450.
Yep. Here's the challenge for 4th spot with Kurt Busch on the move.
And Kurt Busch goes by on the inside, and we'll take that spot away from Jarrett.
78 laps to go. Make it 77 now. As Pep Boys presents the Pennsylvania 500 NASCAR on TNT.
Clear all around. I believe this race is going to end at 175, 175, 10-4.
The word being passed from NASCAR race control to the teams just seconds ago. This race will end 25 laps shy of its scheduled distance because of the onset of darkness.
So we can take the fuel issue and just throw that right out the window, because everyone will have to stop one more time.
And that'll probably come about 20 laps from now. We're at 125. They were all in.
But right now, as they run, pressure's on these two cars, crew-wise, because the way Elliott's going to get in front of the 40 car will be in the pits.
Yeah, he hadn't been able to pass him on the track.
Right.
Wally was talking a minute ago about Ricky Rudd and Ryan Newman and their RPMs and relative speed coming off turn 3. Let's check our speed trap there and see how these first few cars come off, what kind of speeds they're turning at that point on the track you see highlighted.
Bill Elliott, 160. Wow. Kurt Busch, faster than the 40 car. Matt Kenseth quicker at that point.
And Kenseth easing in on Ryan Newman to try and challenge him there for the number 6 spot.
And the last time by, Kurt Busch was the quickest car.
Overall lap, not just the speed trap.
Exactly.
All right, we got a lot of things going on here. We got new race distance been set up, people thinking about their strategies, when they're going to make their final pit stops. So let's take a break here. We'll come back and check in with some of the teams on pit road, find out what the latest thinking is. Sterling Marlin leads at Pocono.
Less than 50 laps to go now in what was the Pennsylvania 500. It will be shortened because of darkness. 128 complete. We go to 175. Sterling Marlin is the leader. We take you through the field. Marty?
His team manager, Tony Glover, told him on the radio a little while ago, Sterling, we have the best car. Take care of it. It's getting the better the longer he runs. They are pulling away from Bill Elliott. Only 5 times this year has the leader of the most laps gone on to win the race. Dave.
And to try to catch Sterling Marlin, Marty, Bill Elliott is searching for other lines on the racetrack. Crew Chief Mike Ford keeps giving him lap times to tell him if they're better or worse. So far, nothing is working. Matt?
The 99 of Jeff Burton looking for his first Pocono victory. His car now is gone to the tight side in the center of the corner. Frank Stoddard looking at air pressure adjustments in both right side tires to try to help him. Right now, though, his car is also loose up off the corner, but they're more concerned, Marty, with the tightness.
Jimmy Finning, Kurt Busch's crew chief, sits in 4th. Kurt's in 4th. Jimmy said, you're reeling them in. Just keep it up. We will help you on this last stop, meaning they may try some track position strategy. Dale Jarrett behind him in 5th. He is too tight. He says he's getting beat off the corner. Remember his teammate, Ricky Rudd, said earlier today they were getting beat off the corner when it was cloudy and cool. Right now, cloudy and cool. Dave?
The 12 car of Ryan Newman, a little bit tight. He radioed into crew chief Matt Borland that the left front was not down in the track. That accounts for the tightness, but right now his biggest problem is he's got a full mirror of Matt Kenseth. Marty?
And Matt is right behind him. He is tight, however, since these clouds have come out. Matt said, I feel like I can run with the leaders if I can just get to him. And the team told him, don't worry about that. You let us worry about that. Dave?
Marty, the 20 car of Tony Stewart was loose, but the track bar, air pressure, and wedge adjustment improved the handling of that car. This crew, however, is planning for this race to be shortened by rain. Weber?
Kevin Harvick, best in class for the Chevrolets. Last time, 4 tires, fuel, no adjustments. Hoping to work his way to the front of the field and catch the guys in front of him. Ricky Rudd may have a blistered right rear tire. It's been a struggle for Rudd today, the car not handling the way he had hoped. But right now, Ricky has a blistered right rear. He needs to run about 9 more laps to get in his fuel window. He's trying to hang on. As for Dave Blaney, another strong run for this team continues. What they really want now is to get a good finish. We've talked about it in the last couple of weeks. Crew Chief Ryan Pemberton believes Blaney can start finishing up front. They're hoping that will begin here today. Matt?
This is a 5 car that Jim Long told me they felt like had the best aero package. They were hoping to showcase how this team has started to make a turnaround. Right now, Terry Labonte says he needs more front grip. They're talking about an air pressure adjustment, Alan.
44 laps to go. Another 5-6 laps. We'll start to see some people diving onto pit road for a final splash of fuel. Sterling Marlin continues.
5 or 6 laps for this team. Get all you can get so we get all the lead we can get.
There you go, Tony Glover confirming the 5 to 6 laps before we'll see the leader in. Let's continue to go through the field. Back to Dave.
And the 48 of Jimmy Johnson is picking off spots. He's now up to 13th. The car was still too loose, though. It feels a little bit better. They thought about making a shock change. That's just how much of a handful that Jimmy's had today. Matt?
Bobby Labonte, a former winner here at Pocono, has had a very quiet day. He has climbed up to 18th. He's not double shifting like a lot of other drivers. They're looking to make their stop around lap 138 to lap 140. They're talking about an air pressure adjustment down in the right front. Also up a half a pound in the left front. Also the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. He's talked so much about being aero push all year. Now when his car is out of traffic, it's even looser. They're talking about an air pressure adjustment on his final stop. Also a track bar adjustment. Also the 22 car, remember Ward Burton? He said 9 times this year they've had bad luck. Well, count at 10, but he's trying to bounce back. He had to swap to the backup ignition box. The car died, he had to go to the backup box. Right now, they're talking about making their final adjustment. Also the 21 car of Elliott Sadler. He too has bounced back what could have been a horrible problem on pit road. He's running in the 17th position. They're talking about making an adjustment on the track bar. 2 rounds down. He says, please, please tighten me up. The car is extremely loose, Bill.
Mark Martin could turn out to be the second biggest story of this race, depending on who wins. Came in second in points, had a voltage meter that said the battery was failing. The team changed the battery under caution, sent him back out. The battery is charging. Martin is hanging on, but still deep in the field. Restarted 25th, climbing into the top 20. Marty?
Bobby Hamilton is doing a very good job. He will not be back in this car after this year, but will he finish out the whole season at APR? That's the question right now. He is tight. He was tight earlier, rather, but the car is very good right now for Bobby, and he's making his way through the field. Bill?
Boy, and a great effort out of Michael Waltrip, who is not feeling very well at all. Believe me when I tell you that. They gave him fluids, they gave him towels, they gave an extra stop on pit road under caution. He gutted it out, went back out there, hanging on tight to that Napa Chevy. Alan?
There are your top 20 as we close in on that critical final round of pit stops. Sterling Marlin continuing to hold on to his advantage of a 1.5 seconds over Bill Elliott. With Jeff Burton about 5 seconds behind in third. Looks like it could be settled by those 2 pit crews of the front 2.
I'll tell you, there's no question. The 40 guys have got to do the best pit stop they've ever done to keep Sterling out front. And Bill Elliott's in the same position. Those guys are going to try to bust off a better pit stop to get in front of the 40 car.
And what are they going to do? They're going to change 2 tires? They're going to just fuel only? What are they going to do that final stop?
That, I believe, was the Sterling Marlin radio we just heard saying they're coming in next time.
And wouldn't you, BP, wait till wouldn't you want to be the second guy in?
Yeah, to find out what the first guy does.
Here's Ricky Rudd going to make the first break to pit road among the leaders. John Andretti was in a minute ago under green. Bill?
Michael McSwain counts Rudd into his pit stall. They go around to the right side, take the tearaway off the windshield. Rudd believes he has a blistered right rear tire. You can see the brake smoke, the brake dust just pouring out from these front tires. Around to the left side as the 4 tires stop, trying to get as much fuel in as possible. Took just a tad longer than they wanted on the rears. Rudd's on his way. Marty.
And it might come down to the pit crew. Sterling Marlin's going to come down next time by. Al Schufert, the pit crew coach for Sterling Marlin's team, went to each individual on this pit crew team that goes over the wall, gave them an individual pep talk, told them to focus, that this could be the race for the win.
It could very well be. There's no doubt about that, because the Kurt Busch, Jeff Burton cars, if they get a good stop and make up a couple of seconds, 12 cars on pit road, Dave.
Obviously, technical difficulties there with Dave's microphone. We apologize for that. Here is Ryan Newman to the attention of Matt Borland's crew.
Well, what do we got? No right side.
Going to need a full tank of fuel here. You might as well take all 4 tires, right?
Yep.
Really, what this comes down to is no mistakes. That's what we're talking about for Sterling Marlin's crew and all these others.
See that? 15.2. Sterling Marlin, if his crew can pull something on around 15 seconds, he'll be okay. And Bill Elliott coming right behind him.
Head-to-head, the duel on pit road. 7 men over the wall, 20 lug nuts, 22 gallons of fuel. Who gets it done the quickest may determine who wins the Pennsylvania 500.
And I think Bill made a little bit of time on Sterling getting to the beginning of pit lane.
Make sure you don't stall it now. Make sure you don't stall it. When they say go, when they drop the jack, get going.
Oh, man, under 6 seconds on that right side.
Had a little trouble on the right front. Looked like a lug nut popped off.
15, 16 seconds. 9 car still there, but he's at the first pit.
There he goes.
Here he goes. Where's the 40 car?
Elliott's got to get that gear going. Sterling's going to get out first. Head-to-head on pit road, the 40-team holds serve. Tony Stewart's in. Dave Blaney, Jeff Gordon, Ward Burton, Johnny Benson also on pit road. Here come Jeff Burton and Kurt Busch together. Matt?
And the 99 car comes in. Remember, we were talking about making an air pressure adjustment on the right side tires. I asked, and they also made a wedge adjustment. They were talking about that as well, but then they decided against it. Now at the last minute, they are going to make a wedge adjustment. If the left side tires go on, crash, possibly, Alan?
Yes, Jeremy Mayfield, a heavy crash. No caution yet. The flag man on the starter stand still has not waved the caution flag. Jimmy Johnson has taken over the lead. Go ahead, BP.
Well, they've got to throw the caution flag.
Jimmy Spencer with problems.
Right rear tire is flat.
Caution is out for the Jeremy Mayfield crash.
Caution is out. Track is clear. As far as I can see, the track is clear.
You see a little bit of a fire under the left side. And we also see Jeremy moving around in the car, taking his gloves off.
I was just going to say, do we know drama or what, PP?
Oh, man.
Now it's going to happen.
That is over in turn number 3. Where Mayfield's car sits. Did he hit the inside wall? See the skid marks coming off the racetrack?
And here's the inside wall back there that Alan is talking about.
I wonder if he came off the corner trying to get to pit road and lost it. Oh yeah, look at the wall. Let's see.
He might.
Or did he get help?
I think he got a little help.
Oh.
Oh, that's where Jimmy Spencer got his right rear flat.
Oh, man, that was heavy contact.
Wow.
And Jeremy steers that thing, almost saves it, but it finally can't catch up with it. Hits the 41 car and watch as he goes down and bam into that wall. That's a sudden stop.
Yes, it is.
One more view on it from overhead.
Wait.
Just nipped him.
Just barely touched him.
It doesn't take a whole lot in turn 3.
And how Jimmy Spencer managed to miss getting more of that. He was lucky.
And Jeremy's saying, you know, this is going to hurt.
And I'm not slowing down on this grass at all. Tore up race car from that.
So the 4th caution flag is out in the Pennsylvania 500 with 36 laps to go. The guys who did not stop under the green flag get to come in and make their stop under the caution, but because of the big nature of this racetrack, when the other leaders did come in, they did not get trapped a lap down. Talking about Sterling Marlin and all the rest of that. They should stay on the racetrack here and re-inherit the top spot.
But they completely erased the gap before the yellow.
These are all lead lap cars who are in. Matt?
Elliott Sadler coming in, making his final stop. He's in the 2nd position. They're already coming around to the left side of the car. Left side tires going on. Remember, he was asking them to please tighten him up, made an air pressure adjustment. A little bit of trouble with Jay Guarneri on the left rear. Dave?
2 tires only for Jimmy Johnson. A pair of scuff tires on the right side, packed full of fuel. The tires were chosen specifically by Chad Knaus himself, who is the crew chief. Alan?
But all of these cars that come out are going to start behind those who pitted under the green already. Headed by Sterling Marlin. He's going to come back around into the lead, but now Bill Elliott's got another shot at him to try and steal this win away here at Pocono. The Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys under caution with 34 laps to go after Jeremy Mayfield got nipped by Jerry Nadeau and crashed off of turn 3. Well, Wally, we set it up before, head-to-head on pit road. Sterling Marlin's guys had to get the job done and under pressure.
And they did it.
And here they are.
Rick Reeling, Jack Mann, Merlin, New York.
Mike Atwell, rear tire changer, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Dwayne Trammell, rear tire carrier, Dothan, Alabama.
Jerry Schweitz, I'm the gas man. I'm from Waterloo, New York.
Mike Houston, front tire carrier, Concord, North Carolina.
Clay Robinson, front tire changer, Simi Valley, California.
Hi, I'm Mike Modal, catch can man for the Coors Light Dodge from Hazleton, Pennsylvania.
Attaboy, guys.
Attaboy, Mike from just around the corner. Hazleton, about 30 miles from here.
He might get to celebrate at his home track in Victory Lane. You never know. 34 laps to go. Marlin leads at Pocono.
On board with Jeffrey Bodine. He somehow gets underneath the 19 car of Jeremy Mayfield. We saw the 41 of Spencer gets that right rear tire. And we see NASCAR taking the cars down the access road so they can clean up the racetrack up in turn 3.
That's also up in turn 2 where they're running right now. They've got the jet blowers out and they're cleaning all 3 corners off.
Because they figure they're going to need all the racetrack we can get right now in this restart.
You know, we saw that big crash on lap 1 with Steve Park, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace. This is kind of like lap 1 all over again. When they throw the green flag to restart these cars.
The mellowness is out the window.
What are Sterling Marlin's thoughts on trying to hold off Bill Elliott on this restart? We listened.
And the only place really that he was, doing anything much from what I could see, Lauren can tell you better, would be in turn 1.
Running a little high on the bottom like me. Well, Sterling, what he was doing there when he was directly behind you, he was just going where you weren't, and he was just bonsaiing it down in there pretty hard. So we just kind of need to be conscious of where he's going. I'll let you know where he's at.
You just keep doing what you've been doing because it's right.
That was Lauren Ranier, the spotter for Sterling Marlin, telling him that Bill Elliott just kind of carrying it down in turn 1 a little bit harder than you and running where you aren't, so he doesn't pick up that aero push. Marty Schneider, what else you got for us?
Well, Benny, I'll tell you what's right. You heard Tony Glover say what you've been doing in the car, Sterling, is right. What the team did was right this morning. They set up the car perfectly. They have made no adjustments to this car the entire day. And the back end of that conversation with Laura Ranier, his spotter, was that through the tunnel turn, you are much better than Bill Elliott. That is where you'll beat him every time, and also off of 3. Dale Jarrett here in June started 13th, guys. Today, Sterling Marlin started this race in 13th.
See Kurt Busch there? If they finish as they are now, he'll move up from 8th to 5th in points. But it's going to be another good day for Sterling Marlin, potentially.
All right, folks, you see the lights atop the pace car, safety car are out. That means the next time they get to the start-finish line, old Rodney Wise is going to throw the green flag and we'll be off.
30 laps to the finish, 75 miles. Bill Elliott has not been able to pass Sterling Marlin yet under green. Is he going to be able to this time?
He's going to have to try because I think this is pretty much his only shot.
He's going to have to get him quickly, too. I think we all agreed, talking during the commercial.
The last restart, it seemed like Bill was a little bit better the first lap or 2, but then once Sterling got going, he pulled away.
We've run 145 laps today. Marlin has led 94 of them. Elliott led 16 early, but he's not been out in front since coming down pit road at lap 25. Johnny Benson is the lap car to the inside of the leaders. 30 laps to go. The race shortened to 175 laps by darkness and the rain delay earlier. Can Bill Elliott get Sterling Marlin on the restart? The fans are all on their feet. They want to know.
Right now, 28 cars on the lead lap.
Wow, did Marlin get a jump?
Wow, what an unbelievable jump he got.
Well, the answer to the question initially is no. Elliott can't do anything with him.
Right now we have a couple of Dodges leading the race, and right now Bill Elliott's got a challenge from Jeff Burton. The left rear tire's flat on Burton's car.
Very flat. He's going to hang on to it right here.
Oh, man.
What a tough break for that team. Raced all the way up from 33rd starting spot, trying to make a pass for second. They get a flat tire. And I hope they see it before he gets involved in something bad.
Got a tire down, got a tire down, got a tire down, got a tire down.
He knows. That's Jeff telling the crew.
He's had some bad luck here. Like you said earlier, Alan.
Left rear, do the best you can.
So Burton will lose at least a lap trying to nurse that back to the pits because he's going to have to come back at very reduced speed. He didn't feel it and decide about it till he just came past the opening to pit road. Boy, that's too bad. Oh, trouble right in front of him. Jerry Nadeau with a heavy crash.
This might save Jeff Burton from going a lap down.
Caution is out.
You know, it looks like the right rear tire is torn up on the 44 Georgia Pacific car.
Yeah, hard to say if that was before or after.
Is that red paint on the bumper there? The rear bumper?
Yeah, he might have hit one of the painted logos
painted
on the wall there,
yeah.
right in the middle of the corner. See Jerry taking his helmet off inside the car. Here's Jeff Burton in.
So they're not going to lose a lap.
Did he damage the car significantly and trying to get it back to pit road? Plus he's, 27 cars on the lead lap now, so. How about it, Matt?
Stuck in, I throwed it in the window.
Alan, no damage to the left rear quarter of Jeff Burton's car. Mark Armstrong helped them lift the car up. They just changed the left rear tire.
Seeing that Jerry Nadeau is going over and looking at that right rear, which means it was flat, and that's what caused him to back in the wall.
Good call, BP. Wonder if there was something on the racetrack. 2 flat tires there? Because Burton's had to cut down across that same corner because it went flat in turn 3.
Could very well be.
All right, let's go back and see the back end of Jerry Nadeau's impact.
And you can see hard contact.
There must have been something out there.
But, NASCAR took the blower over there, blew that corner off. You'd have thought they might have been able to get all that debris off the racetrack, but obviously 2 flat tires in just 1 lap. Dave, what about Bill Elliott?
Well, he thinks there might be something out there too, Benny, and he asked his spotter and his crew chief to look at the rights and the lefts respectively on his car and just make sure visually that they aren't down either.
Well, all the drivers get paranoid right now because, they know that 2 guys have just gone down with flat tires, so everybody's checking each other's tires right now.
Bill Weber.
You can add Ricky Rudd to the list of guys that might be paranoid. He thought it was his right rear going flat. Once it went to caution, he got his spotter to talk to Bobby Labonte's spotter to get Bobby to look at his right rear. Bobby gave him the thumbs up, said it's okay. McSwain told him they actually went up on air pressure on that last stop. Ricky might be having some kind of a handling characteristic problem with that right rear because he thought his right rear was blistered earlier, and it was not.
And can you believe the run of that 18 car, Bobby Labonte? Engine change, they started in the last row of this race. He has taken 10th position away from Ricky Rudd. What a drive.
Terrific run for Bobby Labonte and his crew.
Here's a team that has not had a top 10 finish since their win at Martinsville in mid-April.
Right now, they're 10th.
All right, let's take a break while they clean up turn number 2. Still got more drama to play out here at Pocono. Sterling Marlin hanging on to the lead. Down to the final 25 laps here at Pocono Raceway. In the Pennsylvania 500, Sterling Marlin is the leader. He has led 99 of the 150 that we've run so far. And let's take a look at what has been a very eventful race to this point. We started a little after 1 o'clock Eastern time. And on lap 1, just off the first corner, Rusty Wallace and Steve Park got together. Then Park hooked into Dale Earnhardt Jr. Listen. Unbelievably hard crash as Park is driven into that inside guardrail, which fortunately gave way. After a few anxious moments of watching, Steve Park did climb from his race car, and he is fine. But boy, it gave us a scare for a minute. 2 hours to fix that, an hour and 5 minutes to fix that guardrail at Parkhead. Then we raced for about 20 laps, and then the rain came. And we sat for 2 hours and 2 minutes under the red flag while the rain stopped and the track dried. This was just moments ago after a long green flag run. Jeremy Mayfield, lap 140, gets bumped by Jerry Nadeau, hits the inside wall off turn 3. And then at lap 148, Jerry Nadeau, we think the tire went down based on his actions when he got out of the car. And he clobbered the outside wall in turn number 2, and that's where we sit at the moment. They've cleaned up the racetrack. The field is getting the 1 to go signal. While not showing in those highlights, the story of this day has been that 40 car, the old Silver Bullet, out front early and often.
Now the last restart, Sterling Marlin got a pretty good restart on Bill Elliott, but I don't think Bill Elliott's going to let him get away with that this time.
Whatever he did the last time, Elliott is ready for it this time, I would think.
Jeff Burton has come back onto pit road on the 1 to go signal.
He has nothing to lose. You know, I started to say a little bit ago, the good news is that Jeff Burton did not go a lap down. Now the bad news is 27 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, and he's going to restart 27th or 26th, depending on how he and John Andretti come off of pit road. Here's what Jeff Burton was saying to his crew as he came down the pit lane.
You guys have done a nice job today. We aren't going to get down about this. We're going to go as fast as we can. We'll go home, and where we finish is where we finish. We've done a great job today.
There you go. Got to keep that crew pumped up.
Boy, they have done a great job, too. Came from 33rd. He was racing Bill Elliott for 2nd when the tire cut down. Matt?
Well, Jerry Nadeau walk out of the infield care center. First off, Jerry, any idea what happened?
No. First, my brakes went, and I don't know if that's what caused it or what, but the car just come around. I couldn't stop anyway. I hate I got into Mayfield there. I thought I was underneath him, and I couldn't stop, and I think he was lap down. I got in the back of him, and he wrecked, so I hate it for him. But I don't know. We had a good car going, but then obviously we couldn't stop, or what happened. We blew a tire. I'm not sure, but we destroyed the GP Dodge, and I hate it. We'll go to Indy next week and see if we can make it up there.
Jerry Nadeau joining Steve Park, Morgan Shepherd, Kirk Shelmerdine, Rusty Wallace, and Mike Wallace as drivers, and Jeremy Mayfield as those who will not finish the Pennsylvania 500. 24 laps to go. Bill Elliott, one more shot at Sterling Marlin.
Hey, Kurt Busch is right up on the back, Elliott, but he did, BP. Looks like Sterling got the jump on Bill Elliott.
Boy, he hit that throttle and the way that Coors Light car ran. And Kurt Busch, 97, trying to get by Bill. Trying to get alongside in turn 1. Can he do it?
Oh, he'll do it. He'll try to do it anyway.
Drives it on in there, but Elliott did too.
I knew Kurt wouldn't be afraid to dive down in there.
No, he's not afraid. Marlin, Elliott, Busch, Dale Jarrett, Ryan Newman, the top 5. Then Matt Kenseth is up to 6th. Kevin Harvick 7th. Tony Stewart 8th, Terry Labonte 9th, and Bobby Labonte 10th.
See, that's exactly what Sterling wants to see in his mirrors, that 97, giving Bill Elliott a hard time, and then he will make that lead a little bit longer. But 97 and the 9 work together a little bit. Maybe they can draft on by him.
Work together.
Boy, these are race cars.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Just hit your marks, buddy, and you'll pull away.
Jeremy Mayfield has come from the infield care center. Matt?
And Alan, Jeremy walked out, and you had a conversation with Jerry Nadeau. What did you tell him?
I'm not sure. He was heading out, but that's 2 weeks in a row he's gotten into us a little bit. We were already loose and struggling. I would have let him go, you know, and just tore a race car up. It's my fault. I was loose, shouldn't have been there, but that's 2 weeks in a row. He could have given me a little bit of a break. I bet he does next time.
There you go.
Well, Jeremy's okay. That's the good part of that.
Harvick there getting around the lap car. Johnny Benson in that 10 is a couple of laps down in 32nd place, so he's not a factor there up front. Elliott's hanging with him this time.
Well, like I said earlier, Elliott seems to be a little bit better the first 2 or 3 laps after the restart. And I think his only chance is to try to get beside him in turn 1 and drag race him down into 2, but that's not close enough to get it done right there.
Tony Stewart getting around the lap traffic. That's why he was so far to the right of your picture.
Kurt Busch ran across the white line going down in turn 1, shoved the car up the hill, and we saw him lost 5 or 6 spots before he could get the car back under control.
Darkness starting to fall here at Pocono. This race scheduled to go 200 laps, 500 miles. It will be shortened to 175 laps. And it has been all Sterling Marlin so far today. Mark Martin, his rival for the championship, pinned back in 16th place. He had to come onto pit road for an extended stop while they replaced a battery. He is on the lead lap, but he's going to lose a lot of points today if things finish as they are.
Oh, Kurt Busch went the corner very high that time. He's going to try that line, see if that's going to help him any.
40 car is getting off the corner awfully well. And I'm not sure if Bill Elliott is shifting the same as Sterling. Sterling's doing a lot of shifting right now, twice.
There you go. Mark Martin was 55 points behind at day's beginning. Right now he's 125 back if he can hold his spot. He's going to gain one there on Michael Waltrip. That'll be 15th place. And he needs to gain as many as he can in these final laps.
Michael may take a look on the inside here. Nope, not going to do it.
Fans have all stayed. It's been a marathon day here in Pennsylvania. 6 hours and 20 minutes after this race started. They're trying to finish it up. 20 laps to go.
You got to take your hat off to Michael Waltrip for sticking it out. Not feeling well, but hanging in there and running in the 15th position.
And now, Derek Cope, smoke showing from behind his car.
He blew up because we see the flame in the exhaust pipe means he has turned the engine off, the ignition off.
Now, unless he pulls off the racetrack, he will not make it back to pit lane. Do you think, Benny?
It's going to be very difficult for him, too. He will take the apron. He might. Hopefully he will.
NASCAR is calling to his team to have him turn into an opening that is just past turn number 2.
All right, now, is there oil down in turn 1 as his leaders go charging down in the corner? Well, he took all 3 different lines, and here comes Elliott.
Here comes Bill Elliott. Sterling Marlin with a little back-end wiggle in the corner. Elliott goes by to the lead. 19 laps to go. Not so fast. Here comes Marlin right back.
Side by side down in the tunnel corner, and Elliott takes the lead.
Listen to the fans roar. Bill Elliott back to the lead with the laps running out, Dave.
And this is a huge victory for their motor program, both the 9 and the 19, until he came to an early demise. Earlier this year, they both failed to finish because of motors. The engine shop, Charlie Seegers and Mike Hawkins, they've worked hard to fix the problem they had in their oiling system in the motors, and it's lasted all day long, and Bill Elliott now blasts into the lead here at Pocono.
And that's where he had to do, was turn 1. That's where his car was the strongest.
And look at that thing. Bill Elliott is driving it down in turn 1 so hard, the right front bottoming out. See the sparks from underneath that 9 car? Here goes Kurt Busch for second spot.
And before we go and say that there was something on the racetrack that Marlin hit to cause that wiggle, obviously his car's not handling like it was before.
No, it isn't. And Elliott is trying so hard right now. He's driving this car just as hard as he possibly can. And all of a sudden, Sterling Marlin is losing a lot of ground. Is something wrong with a 40 car, you reckon?
Something's up. Marty?
He has said nothing on the radio, guys, so they think nothing's wrong with the car. And once he got behind other ones, they think that he's gotten tight now, but he has said nothing. Tony Glover just continuing to say, hit your marks, do the best you can. There's still lots of time left in the race.
See that 9 car bottoming out down in turn 1? Old awesome Bill is going for it.
Bill Elliott's last win was the season-ending race last November in Homestead, Florida. It was his first victory in a long, long time. Next race, next win, doesn't look like it's going to have to wait so long. Without question, that Elliott power move to the outside of Marlin is our AutoTrader.com move of the race.
Got my vote.
outside into turn 2, never lifted. Didn't give in. And so now Elliott stretching his advantage. Over now Kurt Busch, who's in second. Whoa, what's that? Oh, it's just a bag that's blown out of the grandstands. Jeffrey Bodine has just taken his car to the garage. Engine failure. Retired for the day. For Bill Elliott, he's won here at Pocono. Both races in 1985. This race, the July event, in 1988 and 89 as well. He led 26 laps in the June race here, but fell out with 20 to go with engine failure. Here today, he led from lap 10 to 25, but did not lead again until he made that move on Sterling Marlin at lap 157 of 175.
There's Mr. Newman.
And that engine is still, those pistons still going up and down.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we're past 400 miles now.
My hat's off to Larry Wallace on that one. Here we go. Here's what we're talking about. 9,300, 9,400. All day long.
You know, we're not going to know if it would have finished 500 miles because we're not going to get to that distance today.
I wouldn't think it went even 100 miles.
But it gives us something to think about for next year.
Great job.
Yep.
If you turn the engine that kind of RPMs, you certainly don't have to shift.
Ryan Newman's an open wheel driver. He's not used to shifting.
Exactly.
In, out. That's how the gears work on those things, right?
A little tight there. Car pushed up the racetrack, lost a little bit on Dale Jarrett right there.
And again, this the race for 4th place.
And Bill Elliott has got that Dodge in front, getting all that air on the car, and he is just pulling away from Kurt Busch and Sterling Marlin.
Let's go back and check up on Jeff Burton. Remember, was trying to pass Bill Elliott for second when a tire went down on his car at lap 146. Restarted in 27th place. Where is he now?
He's in 20th and trying to overtake Kenny Schrader for 19th. There we see the M&M's car directly in front of him.
17, nearly 18 seconds behind leader Bill Elliott. Last lap by, about a draw on lap times and speeds for Bill Elliott and Kurt Busch, so the interval stays the same. It's about a second and a half between the two.
Elliott still bottoming that right front, going down in turn 1.
Pretty impressive drive for that 97 today, Benny. 23rd to 2nd so far.
And the 97 car on a long run, I'm talking about 30, 35 laps, is the best car that I've seen today. But I don't know if it's going to have enough time. 13 more laps to go. I'm not sure he's going to have time to catch Bill Elliott.
His best finish here at Pocono, speaking of Kurt Busch, was 13th in the June race of last year. He only ran 67 laps 6 weeks ago here, got involved in an accident.
That time, Bill Elliott just about a quarter of a mile per hour faster than Kurt Busch.
Checking the gap back to Kevin Harvick, the 6th place car. Pretty nice drive for him today. 29th is where he started. He's up to 6th. Finishes 1st and 9th the last couple of weeks, 11th the week before. So, yes, Richard Childress Racing is definitely on the rebound.
Yes, they definitely are, and I think this is a clear indication they are getting much better.
Just behind Harvick, big orange, Tony Stewart. He's kind of up there dicing around with Elliott and Marlin at the beginning for the lead, but his car kind of faded back, and he's hung in this back half of the top 10 most of the afternoon since.
I think maybe they got loose. And Jimmy Spencer, all the problems he's had today, car is off the pace.
Got penalized twice earlier for speeding on pit road.
Time machine or something just shut right off.
Something's back there dragging right behind the right rear. I don't know if that's...
Now, you know, so access road.
Keeping an eye on Spencer to make sure he gets off the track and makes it back around to not bring out a caution flag. Of course, his teammate Sterling Marlin probably could use a yellow flag here.
And we see the officials directed Jimmy, please turn left.
Did not do it. Well, this could get interesting. Will the caution come out? Here comes Bill Elliott, 10 laps to go. Watching Jimmy Spencer's car to see if he makes it back around. He's on that access road inside of turn 3. But there's no way he's getting all the way back onto pit road.
That's road.
He's got an awfully long ways to go.
They're trying to signal him.
Flagman, they want you to turn in there, Jimmy. Don't come on pit road. Yeah, okay.
There you go. And I didn't mean to alarm any conspiracy theorists, but you know, that he was going to bring out a yellow on purpose, but was he going to make it back around?
Hang a left, right in there. Hang a left.
Clear, clear.
That's never happened before, you know.
Let's check in the pits of some of the top 10 runners now, starting with Dave Burns.
The 9 car of Bill Elliott, the last of his 41 wins, came at Homestead 21 races ago, but this is familiar territory. It's the same car. Marty?
Kurt Busch sits in second. His car is tight. I asked Jimmy Finning, is it too tight for him to pass anyone? He said, yeah, it's too tight and we're running out of time. I cannot describe to you the disappointment in Sterling Marlin's pit. They were just disheartened when he got passed by Bill Elliott. They thought they had this race won. His spotter, Lauren Renier, has asked him what's wrong with the car. Sterling has said nothing on the radio. Dale Jarrett behind him having a fine run. He has been tight all day long. They went up 3 rounds on the track bar last time, and no complaints on this run so far for DJ. Dave?
Marty, Saturday morning, Ryan Newman only took 15 laps of practice. Saturday afternoon, he did not practice at all. That saved the motor. Last time here, they had motor failure and finished 32nd.
Kevin Harvick complained for several laps about being held up by the 23. Finally got around him. Richard Childress told him, do what you have to do, but think of the big picture. Harvick looking for his 3rd straight top 10, Dave.
The 20 car of Tony Stewart is just hanging on. Since the last restart, he has only gained 1 position on the track. Marty?
Matt Kenseth running out on the track, and he is tight. They have been tight all day long. I asked their crew chief just a moment ago, Robbie Reiser, what's he saying about the car? He said nothing, just trying to hold his position right now, Matt.
What a great one. What a great run for Terry Labonte, qualified 30th, a 2-time winner. Has quietly climbed up to 9th, trying to chase down the 17 car of Matt Kenseth. This won't be his best finish if he keeps on. That was the 3rd at Sears Point, but he's trying to get some consistency, and this is a good way to start it. Meanwhile, his brother, Bobby Labonte, currently up to the 10th position. He's tight on exit. He hasn't had a top 10 finish since he won at Martinsville. The car gets tight when he gets closer to his brother. He just wants to hang on and get a good finish. Bill?
When this season is over, Ricky Rudd's not going to want to talk much about Pocono. Thought he was going to win here in June, ended up in the wall and out of contention. Started on the front row today, faded back in the field, trying to work his way back up to the top 10. Disappointment. They look forward to Indy, Matt.
The 22 car of Ward Burton trying to close in on the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Gordon just trying to end the day. I spoke to his crew chief, Robbie Loomis. He said he hasn't said anything on the radio. They've gone from loose to tight, back to loose, just trying to score top 10. Meanwhile, the double deuce of Ward Burton, he's just trying to get out of here. This has not been one of his better racetracks. His average finish, 30.8 over the last 10 Pocono starts. Bill?
Not the day Mark Martin was hoping for. Maybe he'll pick something up here in the closing laps. Came in 55 points behind Marlin in the race for the championship, losing ground here at Pocono, Dave.
Talk about a car that won't respond, Bill. Jimmy Johnson's car will just not tighten up. It got a little bit better, then it went way back to its bad loose condition. Alan?
Those are the top 15 runners. There are 26 cars on the lead lap as we come down to what will be 5 laps to go when Bill Elliott comes back around to the start-finish line.
And Bill Elliott, the last time by, was the fastest car of all the cars on the racetrack. So Kurt Busch, Sterling Marlin, no one making a dent on his lead.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if this plays into it or not, but the weather conditions as they've changed today. Cloudy and overcast when the race started. Elliott was strong. Then rain, race stopped, sun came out, the track was hot. Elliott didn't run as well. As the overcast came back in and the sun started to set late in the day, here's Elliott, strong once again.
Well, that will change a car, and it will change a car dramatically. Sterling Marlin's car, as you said, when it's warmer, seems to be by far the class of the field. A little bit cooler weather, and Bill Elliott seems to be the class of the field.
Coming up next on TNT, it's the Thomas Crown Affair. Here's Brosnan and Rene Russo following NASCAR, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. It's all Bill Elliott right now. He has checked out.
Checked out, and he doesn't have too much traffic in front of him either, so there's not going to be a whole lot that's going to slow him down. Although Kurt Busch was a little bit quicker that last lap. Not going to be enough to make up 2 seconds in 5 laps.
How close you can come to losing a race when Jeff Burton was inside of him racing for second and had the tire go down. If he'd have lost control there, we'd be looking at a much different story than this right now.
We see that Dodge crew on the wall. Mike Hawkins clapping. Engine tuner. All right, one more lap. Well, actually, he's got to make 4 more.
He's got 4 to go.
He's still sparking out the right front.
He's driving that car down in the corner, going for it with all he's got.
You know the last time a Dodge won here at Pocono?
Richard Petty, I guess.
Yes, sir. August of 1976. There's Bill's wife, Cindy, looking on. I'll bet Chase isn't far away either, his son.
There he is.
Yeah, I was right. Nervous moments. 7th place here. Matt Kenseth trying to pick one off from Tony Stewart in the final laps. And running right in on that back bumper, too. Matt started in 22nd today. A good solid run for that team. And of course, when this one's over, we look forward to the Brickyard 400 next Sunday from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 2 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. The conclusion of a long weekend's racing that starts on Saturday here on TNT with Bud Pole qualifying from the Brickyard. Busch Series race 2.
Saturday night.
Yep, on the short track.
Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Be a lot of fun next weekend.
I tell you what, Bill Elliott and the Ray Evernham crew should take this race and go to Indy and really feel good about themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, so many teams tested Indy before coming here because of the proximity on the calendar. Not a lot of banking in these corners, not a lot of banking in Indy. A lot of teams say things they learn at Indy apply to Pocono.
And there's a lot of guys that will bring their Pocono car to Indianapolis and race them next week. And I'd be taking this Dodge.
Another good job for Kurt Busch. But if Bill Elliott can hold it together for less than 5 miles, it's all his. This is the same car that Bill Elliott used to win the race at Homestead last November, that flat track. And now he's coming down for what will be the white flag. Race shortened by 25 laps because of impending darkness, and it is starting to get dark out there too. So it'll go to 425 miles. And Bill Elliott's got to make just 1 more lap to pick up the victory in the Pennsylvania 500. He's got 1.7 seconds on Kurt Busch and 3 corners to go.
He didn't spark the right front that time. I think he feels victory coming on.
I think he was a little bit careful, maybe going through one that time.
Bill Elliott going to be the first driver to win a race from pole position this season. First one to win a race in the front row this season. Also looking to become the first man to win 5 times here at Pocono Raceway. His other victories coming back, 2 in 1985, 1 each in 1988 and 89. Now he's down to the final corner. Red will be the color of the day here at Pocono. Bill Elliott bringing it home for Ray Evernham and Dodge as Elliott wins the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono. Kurt Busch will finish second. Sterling Marlin will lead 106 of the race's 175 laps, but have to settle for third.
Like I said, never see Cindy and Chase and the crew. That's our way to go, guys.
There's Mike Ford, the crew chief, the last guy we got to look at there. Bill Elliott has won the Pennsylvania 500, Dave.
And we'll step in with Mike Ford here, and Bill Elliott had to drive that car around Sterling Marlin. Did you think he had it before the last restart?
Well, we were better than Sterling on a short run. I didn't know that he'd drive around him on the outside, but you know, coming into the race, Bill's good for a little bit and knew we'd have a shot at it.
You won the pole. That's not been necessarily the best of luck here for the drivers. Did you think all weekend that it was your weekend, Mike?
Yeah, last time this car was on the pole was Homestead, and last time it was on the pole, it won the race, so it's 2 for 2.
There you go. Pole and win at Homestead, pole and win here at Pocono. Alan?
Bill Elliott has won the Pennsylvania 500. He led the last 19 laps en route to the victory. We'll hear from him and some of the other top finishers when we come back to Pocono Raceway after this. Time for the Autotrader.com post-race show. Coverage of today's Pennsylvania 500. It took a long time to run because of rain and other red flag delays. But in the end, Bill Elliott made a late rally to pass Sterling Marlin and score his first win of 2002. Nice little crowd in Victory Lane there with you, Bill Weber.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it little. It's a big crowd for Bill Elliott. And you know, it's a big weekend for Ray Evernham, too. Yesterday, he put Casey Atwood in the ARCA race. Casey came from the back of the field late in the race to win. Today, it's Bill Elliott, who moved to Evernham Motorsports. People thought he might never get back to Victory Lane. Went to Victory Lane at Homestead last year, and now at Pocono, Bill Elliott wins again. It's a weekend sweep in the mountains for Evernham Motorsports, and a big win for Bill Elliott. And high fives for the crew and for the driver. Come on, climb on out of there. Man, congratulations. You all right?
I'm great.
Yeah.
I can't be no better, boys.
Yeah.
This deserves a good old drink.
It does, huh? Well, as soon as you take that drink, you tell me about passing that Sterling Marlin guy in that 40 car.
Well, I knew I had my work cut out for him. He was awful good. But it seems like whoever was out front had the advantage. And I knew as long as I could stay after him on fresh tires, that's the only chance I had. And I did. I gave it everything I had, and I finally got him on the high side going into one.
And he came right back on you, too, didn't he?
He came back, but I still was able to pull on out.
Yeah. Bill, yesterday, Casey ran some stuff. Ray called it experimental in the ARCA race. He won. You guys go to Victory Lane today. This team in the right direction.
I told you I was proud of these guys. I mean, from the motor guys, all the guys back at the shop to the guys right here on pit road. I mean, they do a heck of a job, and they really put some spirit in me on driving a race car. I'm telling you, it makes it easy for me to come out here on Sunday afternoon and do the job that we can do.
It's 2 in a row for the 40-plus, gentlemen. You're in Victory Lane, and you're in the top 10 in points and moving forward.
Well, that's what we got to do. I mean, but we got to take it a race at a time. You know, if we take care of the races, the rest of it will take care of itself.
Well, your son and your wife are celebrating. I know you are, too. You must love coming to Pocono.
Well, it's been good to me throughout the years. Too bad this race didn't happen last time because I lacked 20 laps to go with finishing. But, you know, ironically, it worked out for the good, and I'm proud of all these guys, I'm telling you.
Congratulations. We'll see you at Indianapolis next week.
You got it.
All right, Bill Elliott and his family in Victory Lane here in Pocono. A big celebration here, a kiss for his wife, and Chase is here, too. Marty?
Well, Bill, from the excitement to the disappointment, Sterling, what happened on the last restart?
We just got beat more or less. You know, our car was really on long runs all day, and, you know, hate to see the last caution. When it come out, we had a pretty good lead and was driving away from them, but, you know, it got cooler and the track changed, and my car just got real tight in turns 2 and 3 and was loose in turn 1, and that's where Bill drove the outside of us. And, you know, Bill run a good race all day, and, you know, he deserved to win it if we didn't. So, you know, we'll just pack up next week and go to Indy carrying the same car. and maybe we'll put the Coors Light Dodge and Victory Lane up there.
Were you surprised at all that your car got tight? Because it had not been tight all day. You guys didn't change anything on that car today.
Well, I mean, you change tires, don't know exactly what you're going to get. You know, the tires have been real consistent, and we had the third set of tires was really good, and the fourth set was really good, and this set here was just a little tighter for some reason. And, you know, the tires run real consistent all day, didn't have any trouble with them.
All right, building back some consistency. It's his second top 5 in the last 4 races, Matt.
Marty, after finishing 40th in June due to an accident, coming home second, what does this mean for you and this team, Kurt?
That's a great step. I mean, it was a dismal day when we finished 40th here, and to bounce back like this, that was the same race car, and we just kept putting changes to it. I mean, it was something where it didn't want to work for some reason. We were fast in happy hour, but dropped the green, we just headed in the wrong direction. So we kept having to make innovative ideas to try to make this thing work. We're just throwing everything at it. Every stop, we change something just to get a different balance on the car. And I mean, it's a lot of fun. Just like Newell Rubbermaid, I'm going to meet with all the people and all the different organizations, and they're coming up with innovative ideas, going to the front, working the packs. That's what we're all about, is going to the front. And to bounce back like this, to get a good point stay out of it, it's been strong. I mean, Jimmy Fenning's really helped me out a ton. This is what Rubbermaid's all about.
After finishing 13th, 37th, and 40th, Kurt Busch scores his first top 5 finish here at Pocono. Dave?
Matt, DJ sat down, so I thought I would too. He finished 4th today after starting 15th. How tough was it to get through this race, DJ?
Well, Ice Cold Coke helps to relieve all of that, but it was tough. But we had a good race car. We just weren't any match for those front guys. We got out-geared today. Those guys were shifting twice, and we elected to stay with our plan of just shifting the one time, and that beat us. They were just killer off of the tunnel turn and off turn 3 here, and just was no match for them. But it was a good day for us.
It was, and it was his 13th top 10 in the last 15 races here at Pocono, and he didn't bring me a Coke either, so I have to get a Coke from him. Okay, well, he'll get me one.
Let's check the final results from today's Pennsylvania 500, with Bill Elliott scoring career win number 42.
Fantastic run for Elliott, also for Kurt Busch, and you know, Sterling Marlin, he takes everything in stride.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be down crying. He just,
we talked about that earlier. Just, hey, he's cool.
I got beat.
He led 106 of the 175 laps, but still a good championship day for Marlin, because there's Mark Martin back in 13th. So maybe he's just looking at the old glass half full.
And Jeff Burton comes back from 27th to 28th to finish 16th after that flat tire.
Some of those who wound up not on the lead lap. You see Jeff Green, the last one on the lead lap. 26 cars. That's a pretty healthy dose.
And Robbie Gordon able to hang in there with those sore ankles and finish on the lead lap.
A lot of those who dropped out fell out late. Jeffrey Bodine, Derek Cope, late engine failures. Jerry Nadeau and Jeremy Mayfield with the late crash. Rusty Wallace, first race he's failed to finish in a long time. And that's the way they ran today here at Pocono. Let's hear from the 5th place finisher. Marty's with Ryan Newman.
Well, a 6-hour race, Alan, will make you tired, as you can tell from even a young Ryan Newman. How about your car today? You said it kind of bounced all over the map.
Yeah, we just, you know, the car was pretty decent all day. We just weren't the best, and we didn't get out front to be able to see what we were like in clean air. And you know, the guys had good pit stops all day for the Altel Ford, and you know, sometimes that's all you can ask for. Finishing 5th ain't bad here for our second race.
Now, will you tell us if you shifted or not? Come on.
You saw the video.
Yeah, we saw the video. There you go. All right. Okay. He's heading off to the garage, guys.
Evidence was in. Thomas Crown Affair coming up next on TNT. Stay with us for that. We're back to wrap it up at Pocono in just a minute.
Well, welcome back to the Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania, where car owner Ray Evernham is celebrating in Victory Lane. He just got the shower with his driver, Bill Elliott. Congratulations.
Man, what a weekend. You know, swept the pole and won the ARCA race, and now these guys get the pole and win again. You know, it amazes me. These guys do a great job. Mike Ford, and he's put a great group of guys together. They work hard, but, you know, Dodge and all the people that support us, UAW, and it's just, I mean, they believe in us, and they keep pushing. What a great weekend for Dodge and the Dodge dealers. I mean, they won the truck race, won the ARCA race, won the Busch race, and now we got the weekend sweep. That ought to be worth a bonus, huh?
Sure should. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ray Evernham back in a very familiar place in Victory Lane.
Holding the winner's trophy. Here are the championship standings after today's Pocono race. Sterling Marlin gaining 51 points today on Mark Martin. Kurt Busch joining the top 5. Rusty Wallace, the big hit by failing to finish, drops 4 spots down to 8th. And we head on to Indianapolis for the Brickyard 400. Coverage beginning next Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time with Bud Pole qualifying on TNT. We'll have the short track Busch Series race for you presented by Midas Saturday night. And then next Sunday, the ninth running of the Brickyard 400. NBC coverage begins at 2 Eastern Time. And as always, we look forward to a great week at Indianapolis. Just something about that racetrack, Wally, that just makes you get excited when you walk in the gates.
I would say Indianapolis is a very important race for a lot of these guys. I think if they had a choice to win Indianapolis Daytona, you'd be surprised how many said they'd like to win Indianapolis. A lot of history. It's a cool place to race. Everybody's really looking forward to going.
I mean, they've only been going to that racetrack since, what, 1909 or something like that. So, yes, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, without a doubt, the most famous speedway on the face of the earth. And I'd love to have won that. As a matter of fact, I would even like to have raced there.
There you go. Well, maybe we can get you in Wally's car and you can run a few laps next week.
I don't think so.
Not willing to give that up, huh? All right, that's next weekend. Today here in Pocono, 6 hours and 40 minutes from when we wave the green flag to get it done. A little adventurous. Lap 1 off of turn 1. Rusty Wallace, Steve Park collide. Park collects Dale Earnhardt Jr. and pow. Slams the inside guardrail. He's okay after that vicious wreck, but he knocked down about 100 feet of guardrail. An hour-plus red flag to repair before the race could resume. What an unbelievably nasty crash. But again, fortunately, Steve was okay. After a couple of minutes of trying to extricate himself from all the safety gear, he appeared much to the relief of the crew and his teammate.
And his teammate, Dale Earnhardt Jr. One problem they had, the car was sitting on its side. It's hard enough to get out of the car sitting on its wheels. On the side creates other problems.
So we went back racing just for a little while, then it rained. We sat around for 2 hours under the red flag while the track dried, the rain stopped. We went back at it one more time after that. Late going, couple of cautions slowed the proceedings. Jeremy Mayfield bumped by Jerry Nadeau. Wrapped one of Ray Evernham's Dodges into the inside barrier off turn 3. He was fine. Moments later, Nadeau cut a tire, backed into the turn 2 wall. He was fine, but apparently they had an interesting meeting in the infield care center. Bill Elliott made the pass on Sterling Marlin with 19 laps to go to score his first victory of 2002. And the photo-taking session is on in Victory Lane here at Pocono. The fans stuck with it. We're glad you stuck with it as well. What a long day.
It was a long day, but see, Ray Evernham that had that trophy in his hand and would not let it go. Ray, they'll give you another one if someone takes it. They'll give you another trophy.
You know, it was only I think it was last week that Ray Evernham said to me, I said, how's the car owner's life? He said, you know, I'm pulling my hair out. This is just a far tougher job than I thought. He's not pulling his hair out there. There's a lot of smile.